All right. So once again, good afternoon to all of you. And probably I could accept some participants later, no, while I'm actually while we are actually interactively discussing, no, the different items in the subject that we're going to have this afternoon. So as you know, we will have general science, no, as part of your general education subjects. So this is your preparation for your September 2022 board licensure examination for teachers, for those who will be taking, no, this September, and for those who are non-takers yet, this is an early preparation for your board examination come March 2023 onwards. The coverage of our session, our review session for this afternoon will be focusing on biological science under Gen Ed. So this is more of general education concepts that might come out again in your board examination for professional teachers. So for those who are non-PRMSU students or reviewees, I am Teacher Dan. You can call me Teacher Dan or Sir Dan. I will be facilitating a review session this afternoon. So we will run the session from 1 to 4 p.m. Hopefully we can maximize that. And hopefully we can actually sandwich everything for the next 3 hours. But this will be the first part of the Gen Ed Science. You will have another part which will be focusing on physical and earth science. So my part will be on biological science. But I will also be giving another run of Gen Ed Science to include other areas. Just watch out for the schedule in the Facebook page. So I think we are all ready, and our number is now 23. So that's, I think, is a good one already. So of course, our goal, no. So basically, our goal is to pass and even top the board licensure examination for professional teachers. Kayang-kaya ba yun? Sige nga. Can I see heart reactions or thumbs up if kaya natin yon to pass and even top the board licensure examination for professional teachers? Okay, sige. Ayan. So thank you so much, no, for your participation. So every now and then, I will be asking your interaction because our review this afternoon will be more of interactive. Let me just accept, no, some of the participants. Sige. Then we'll start. Okay, I will be giving the preliminaries, no, very short, ano lang, house rules for everyone. Sige, let me go to my slide. So your host and then your you are presenting. It's okay. Okay. So they're still coming. Anyway, the review session will actually will be more of interactive. So I need your interaction here. So we will be using the chat box. So I'll try to see your responses from the chat box every now and then. And of course, our goal and my prayer, my fervent prayer for everyone is that you will all pass the board examination. For those who will be taking this September LEPT, malapit-lapit na, ilang araw na lang. So I hope you are doing your best effort. You're giving your best effort to really prepare for this. Okay? So the mechanics of our review will be question-based review. And again, our focus is on biological science. So let me put in the side screen the chat box so I could monitor your responses. What we're going to do is that I'll be showing the question, okay, through the slide, and then please do answer. No? Paano kayo sasagot? There are two options in the chat box. Everyone, and then direct message to me. You may want to to search my name, Danilo Virogayan Jr. in the chat box so that I could receive your direct message. So pag nagsagot kayo, ako lang makakakita ng sagot niyo. Okay? So pwedeng ganun, but if you want to answer it using everyone, that's fine. Pero I advise answer it using direct message para hindi din ma-distract yung iba. And then we will reveal the answer and then we will explain why. So we will rationalize. So all the questions that I included, okay, in this presentation is focused on biological science, gen ed science. But again, as I was saying earlier, there would be second leg of this, which will be focusing on physical and earth science. So kung ready na kayo, can I see from the chat box, say yes if you're ready. Chat yes if everyone is ready. Okay, thank you so much. Ayan, yung iba naka-direct message na, that's good. At least na-practice. Okay. Thank you po. Thank you very much. All right, sige, let's start. Yung iba siguro dito very very simple questions. Alam na namin yan. This is the very reason why we're doing review, to refresh these concepts. Ang dadali naman ng tanong, 'di ba? Of course, this is actually a review of your foundation. So, dadagdagan natin, i-enhance lang natin para pag nakita nyo ulit ang mga questions na to sa board exam, mabilis na lang ninyong sasagutan. Again, lahat ng tanong na makikita ninyo dito sa aking slide presentation ay actual board exam. So natanong na ito, malay natin, isasama ulit ito sa September 2022 board examination. So simulan na natin. Okay. All right. So first question, what is the pressure exerting on the plasma membrane against the wall of bacteria, fungi, and plant cells? A, osmotic pressure. B, turgor pressure. C, wall pressure. D, plasma pressure. Okay, so what do you think is the answer? You may direct message your responses to me. There are already responses in my direct message. Sige, okay lang, no? May mga question mark yung iba, that's not a problem. This is a safe space, sige. You just answer it. If you don't know, sige lang, go. Okay? Walang problema. Sige. I'll try to see some more before we rationalize. Okay? Okay, sige. Thank you very much, no? Sige, for the first question, I think okay na tayo doon. But a lot of you already responded. That's okay. Sa mga nahihiya pa, okay lang. Sige, in the next questions, probably will give your responses. So for this question, pag nakita ninyo sa board exam ito, okay, let me have the laser pointer here. Sa board exam ito, pag pressure exerting on the plasma membrane against the wall, okay, that is actually pertaining to turgor pressure. No? Almost all of you got it correct. That's a good start. But for those who did not choose the right answer, that's okay. So at least alam na natin. So pag nakita ito sa board exam, that is pertaining to turgor pressure. Usually ito sa mga cell wall ng bacteria, ng fungi, and ng mga plant cells. So basically, pag sinabi natin turgor pressure or turgidity, no, it refers to the cause, no, it is actually caused, no, by the sige, mamaya ko na ano yung chat box para baka ma-block. Osmotic flow of water, no, from an area of low solute concentration outside the cell into the cell's vacuole. Remember that the cell's vacuole serves as the storage. Now, vacuole is for storage. So pag nakita sa board exam, yung vacuole, what is the major function of vacuole? It's actually for cell storage, no, which has a high concentration. Usually, for turgor pressure, ito rin yung dahilan kung bakit tumitiklop, no, yung inyong makahiya, no, because of turgor pressure. Once you touch the makahiya, the leaves actually fold, no, tumitiklop siya. It's not because of thigmotropism, no, it's because of turgor pressure. So pag tinanong sa board exam, the unfolding of leaves of makahiya is an example or exhibits what particular process, that is turgor pressure. Thigmotropism kasi is actually more of usually this is movement, no, in terms of touch. However, this is something to do with, for example, they will actually touch a particular kunyari stick, no, or for example, or balag. So for example, yung tawag dito sitaw, no, kapag nakakita siya ng isang balag or isang stick na pwede niyang gapangan, no, that will actually serve as a climbing anchor, then that will be that is actually an example of stigmatropism. Okay, so next question, what is the cellular? Sige, mag-aano ako ng ano para alam ko din. Okay, what is the cellular metabolic process that transmits biochemical energy into adenosine triphosphate? A, cellular breakdown, B, cellular respiration, C, cellular reaction, D, cellular metabolism. Okay, cellular metabolic process. Okay, sige. Keep your responses coming in the chat box. Ayan. This is also an actual board exam. So pag nakita sa board exam, cellular metabolic process from biochemical energy to ATP. Okay? Okay, sige. Pwede ko na sigurong i-reveal, no? So halos lahat din, pare-pareho rin ang sagot. Of course, that is cellular respiration. Remember that cellular respiration is the reciprocal of photosynthesis o kabaliktaran. No? So the raw materials for photosynthesis are actually, the products for photosynthesis are actually the raw materials for cellular respiration. So basically, from biochemical energy into ATP, pag nakita ninyo anong cellular metabolic process, that is cellular respiration. Walang cellular breakdown, this is just a distractor. Cellular reaction, meron naman, however, basically, it must be specified. Cellular metabolism, there is metabolism, di ba? There are two types of metabolism, the catabolism and anabolism. Usually for catabolism, pag nakita sa board exam, what is the difference between catabolism? Sige, let me use the chat box. Pag sinabing catabolism, that is breaking down. Okay? So usually, katai, breakdown. So you actually break down energy there. So for anabolism, that is building up. So anatomy, structure, so building up. So pag nakita sa board exam yung mga keywords na to, in terms of metabolism, when it breaking down, it refers to breaking down, it's more of catabolism. While it's for building up, anabolism or structural or anatomy, no? Sounds like anatomy, which is more of a structure. Okay? So ATP, so pag tinanong sa board exam, what do you mean by ATP? Minsan tinatanong din yan. Ang tamang sagot doon ay adenosine triphosphate. Okay? So para naman pang major naman yung mga ano. Actually, this is Gen Ed, no? Pero pwede rin tong matanong sa inyong sa mga major in biological science or major in science. So basically, we have three stages of cellular respiration. As you can see here, glycolysis, Krebs cycles, and electron transport chain. Usually for the bio-majors na to. Pero at least alam natin, no, as a generalist, kunyari, you are non-bio or non-science, alam mo that's more of, it actually has three stages, glycolysis, Krebs cycles, and etc. No? So kung titignan nyo dito, we have 2 ATP no, na na-produce in glycolysis and 36 ATP na na-produce sa electron transfer chain. And in the process of cellular respiration, ano yung nabubuo? Okay? Nagkakaroon ng tinatawag nating carbon dioxide and water. Okay? So these are considered to be the products of cellular respiration. At kung titignan natin sa photosynthesis, pag tinanong sa board exam, ano ba yung raw materials? Ano ba yung kailangan para magkaroon ng photosynthesis? Ang sagot, syempre, kailangan mo ng sunlight, kailangan mo ng carbon dioxide, at kailangan mo ng water. So kung ano yung kailangan sa photosynthesis, okay, these are your raw materials. Ano naman ang maproproduce, no, ng iyong photosynthesis? Of course, there is a production of glucose and oxygen. So basically, there are two, no? The main product is glucose, no, that which actually will serve as source of energy, and of course, your oxygen. So pag nakita sa board exam, tinanong, what is the waste product of photosynthesis, no? Waste product, sige, chat ko sa ano. That is oxygen. So hindi ka na mag-iisip. Pag nakita mo sa fourth exam Gen and Science, what is considered to be the waste product of photosynthesis? Oxygen. Okay? Pero kabaliktaran nga gaya ng sinabi ko sa cellular respiration. Kung ito ay materials ng photosynthesis, itong carbon dioxide and water, ito naman ang product ng cellular respiration. So ano ang raw materials ng cellular respiration? Your glucose and oxygen. Okay? So mamaya meron akong illustration about that. Okay? So let's proceed. Okay, question number 3. Okay, hindi ko nilagyan ng number, no? Pero sige, mag-aano ako ulit para alam ko na bago na naman yung sinasagutin nyo. What is true of recessive genes? A will only have phenotypic expression if present as a homozygous genotype. B should be paired with a dominant gene for it to be expressed. C will prevent a dominant gene from expressing its phenotype. Letter D, have more superior phenotypic traits. Ayan, parang medyo, ano na siya, no? Medyo nagiging unfamiliar. So, of course, this is more of, ano to ulit? Genetics, no? So, part ito ng ating basic gen. Okay, so yung iba, naka-everyone, that's no problem. Yung iba, naka-direct message, that's not a problem. Okay, I'm getting more different names in the chat box. So salamat, no? At least nagre-respond kayo. Again, sa mga kapapasok, pwede kayong mag-direct message ng inyong sagot sa akin. Or kung gusto nyo, everyone, walang problema. Para lang din ma-measure nyo yung sarili ninyo. Okay? So, dalawa ang major na sagot dito, A and B. Alin kaya sa dalawa? Sige. Kung A and B ang majority, tanggalin natin yung C and D, no? So, it's more of A and B. So, tingnan natin. Tingnan muna natin letter B. Recessive should be paired with a dominant gene for it to be expressed. Remember, okay, pag recessive, dalawa kasi yan, no? Dalawa kasi ito. Okay? The recessive and the dominant. So, pag sinabi nating recessive, it is actually symbolized, sige, everyone in the meeting, okay? Pag recessive, it's actually symbolized by small letters, okay? If you are writing it, for example, hirap mag-type. Here, recessive is small letter. So, sorry for the spelling now. Then, pag dominant is actually represented by capitalized letter. Papakita ko later, okay? So, kung i-prepare ngayon natin, okay, yung recessive ng isang dominant gene, kunyari isang malaki, example tall, no? Tall is capital T, then short is small letter t. Kung gagawin nating isang dominant at isang recessive, palagay mo ba recessive yan? Yang ano, sige nga, sagutin nyo nga ako sa chat box. Do you think capital T and small letter T is showing a recessive gene or showing a dominant gene? Actually, kapag may malaking titik, no, doon sa iyong genotype, that actually is dominant. So basically, letter B is already wrong. Okay? Dominant yon. Okay? Dominant na siya. So, ano kaya ang pinaka-possible answer dito? Of course, letter A. So basically, the recessive genes will only have phenotypic expression if present as a homozygous genotype. Sir, ano naman yung sinasabing homozygous genotype? Sige, puntahan natin itong aking illustration dito. Ang round C dito, round is actually represented by capital R and wrinkled is represented by small r. Kapag parehong capital yan, ibig sabihin homozygous dominant. Okay, ang tawag dito is homozygous dominant. So, i-ano natin? Okay, may waiting ba tayo? Wala naman. Okay? So, homozygous. So, sorry. Homozygous, ibig sabihin, same letter. Okay? Ibig sabihin, parehong malaki o parehong maliit. Diba? Pag heterozygous, different letter. Different ibig sabihin, may isang malaki, isang maliit. So, here, this is actually a homozygous dominant. So, dahil malaki siya, letter, parehong malaking titik R, ibig sabihin dominant yung trait. Ito naman is homozygous recessive. Parehong maliit na R, okay? Tapos, dahil pareho sila homozygous, dahil recessive pareho maliit. Okay, kaya ito, nakita nyo rito sa baba, homozygous. So we have the capital RR and the small rr. These are both homozygous. Sir, ano yung heterozygous? Ito, capital R is small letter r. Pero dahil may isa siyang dominant, ang dominant trait dito is round. So pag tinanong sa board exam, capital R and capital R actually represents what type of seed? Round or wrinkle? Anong sagot? Sige nga, ilagay nga sa chat box. Kapag parehong capital R, round or wrinkled? Okay, thank you so much. Round. Kapag ganito, one capital is small letter K, round or wrinkled? Round pa rin. So pag nakita nyo itong maliit, wala ka ng dominant dyan, wrinkled na yan. So kaya kung babalikan natin yung tanong, okay, anong true sa recessive? Will only have phenotypic expression if present as a homozygous genotype. So ang tawag dito is homozygous recessive. So this homozygous recessive therefore is represented by both recessive genes. Okay? I hope pag nakita sa board exam, mabilis na lang yan. Okay? Next question. Damage to DNA that is not repaired and then replicated can result in genetic disorders. Wait lang ha, maglalagay lang ako ng borderline. Sorry, nakakalimutan ko. Okay. A, mutation. B, embryology. C, pathology. D, speciation. Ayan, gagaling nila. Opo. Yes po. Okay, so bumabaha ng letter A. Kung letter A din ang sagot mo, sinabi ko na, that is correct. Okay? Pag nakita ninyo is damage to DNA. Okay, na hindi na-repair, na-replicate, nagkakaroon nito ng genetic disorder, wag na ninyo itong wag na kayong mag-atubiling isagot ang mutation. Okay, it's more of mutation. At naririnig niyo yan, di ba? Sinasabi niyo, may bago na namang mutation, no? For example, ang coronavirus, no, yung DNA ng coronavirus. So basically, nagkakaroon minsan ng mga mutagens, no? That causes these damages that could lead to actually genetic disorder. No? Pag embryology, of course, that is the study of embryo. Okay, it's more of the development, growth and development of a certain organism like humans. Pathology is study of diseases. Okay, ito ay pag-aaral ng mga sakit at kung paano ang mga sakit na to ay nagtatransmit. Lalo ngayon, di ba, we have COVID-19. Pag tinanong sa board exam, what is COVID-19? It's a disease. No? What causes that? Of course, the coronavirus. These are the agents of that particular disease. Pinag-aaralan yun sa pathology. Ngayon, kung gusto mong specific na pag-aralan is, for example, virus, specific lang sa virus, ang tawag naman natin doon ay, okay, ilalagay natin ulit sa chat box, virology. Pag naman pinag-uusapan mo, gusto mong pag-aralan naman ang bacteria, that is bacteriology. Okay? Speciation naman is more of, ito yung yung presence ng mga bagong species due to several factors. Usually nangyayari ito in different situations and it's also part of our evolution. Kung nagkakaroon ng extinction, pagkawala ng mga species, nagkakaroon din naman ng speciation kung saan because of either genetic or environmental factors. Okay? And remember, pag sinabi nating species, no, this is the very basic unit of classification. Okay? Ang pinakamaliit na unit pag nakita sa board exam Gen Ed Science, what is the basic unit or the most basic unit of classification? That is species. Okay? So, let's go. Okay? So basically, ito nakita nyo may gene mutation. If this is the normal gene, okay, meron siyang normal protein. This one is mutated, no? Nagkakaroon ng abnormal protein or no protein that could actually result to mutation. At cannot be replicated or cannot be repaired and could actually lead to genetic disorder. Okay? So, ayan. Sorry, nag-a-accept din ako. Sige. If you have questions, by the way, pwede nyo i-direct message sa akin or you put it in the chat box, ha? Walang problema. Okay, next question. Okay. Insulin is secreted by the blank. A, pancreas. B, gallbladder. C, urinary bladder. D, kidney. Okay. Very interactive. Thank you so much. I feel like I'm not alone. Okay, salamat. Salamat sa inyong mga sagot. Okay, very good kayong lahat. Yes, of course. Pancreas. So pag nakita sa board exam, insulin is secreted, insulin pancreas. Okay? Insulin pancreas. Okay? So hindi na natin yan palalaliman. That is actually a basic science concept. So kung titignan niyo here, we have here the pancreas, no? In the behind the stomach, no? Below the liver. Okay? So sasagot niyo dyan is pancreas. So the union, next question, the union. Okay, sige. Anahin ko lang to ulit. Borderan natin. The union of an ovum and a sperm inside the test tube is called blank fertilization. A, in vivo. B, asexual. C, in vitro. D, sexual. Ayun! Nakakakita ako ng iba-ibang sagot. Huwag kayong malilito, no? So remember na ang exam ni PRC, actually kinuha ko na rin. Kinuha ko din talaga yung actual na mga responses dito, no? I mean, kung ano yung talagang mga options ni PRC before, talagang kinuha ko din para alam ko kung malilito kayo. At may mga nalito, no, sa letter A at letter C, but majority is letter C. Very good because that's the answer. So, in vivo it's not, no? So pampalito lang yan. It's just for it's just to trick you. Pero ang isasagot sa board exam pag nakita niyo ito, inside the test tube, what do you call that particular fertilization? In vitro. Okay? So in vitro fertilization is the right answer. So this is when there is, for example, kumuha ng sperm and egg cell, and then it's in the test tube that you're going to let them meet, no, in order for these to be fertilized. No? Remember that when there is a union of egg and sperm, no, egg cell and sperm cell, you're actually talking about fertilization. Okay, the union of egg and sperm, pag nakita sa board exam, Janet Science, fertilization ang isasagot. Pero kapag sinabi doon sa test tube, in vitro fertilization. Okay? Ayan. But of course, i-implant pa rin naman yan, no, for the surrogate mother later on. Okay? So fertilization, so of course it involves your egg cell, ito yun, and then the sperm cell kung sino yung makakapag-fertilize doon sa egg. And yes, sa mga gustong magkaanak, yan, IVF ang pwede nyo. Isa sa pwedeng options. Okay. Although marami naman, kaya lang syempre alam niyo naman, the cost minsan is not too friendly. It's not cost efficient. So pag tinanong din sa board exam niyo, how do you call the female gamete, no? Pinag-uusapan rin naman natin ang fertilization, baka lang itanong ulit. Pag tinanong female gamete, okay, yan yung egg cell because gamete is actually sex cell. So egg cell, other name for egg cell is ovum. Pag plural, ova. Remember? Pag tinanong naman sa board exam, male gamete, okay, male sex cell, that is, ano ulit yon, is sperm cell. Okay, other name for sperm cell, teachers, is spermatozoon. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so yun lang naman mga basic concepts. No? Next, what are the nasal cavities? Okay, part of? A, resonators, B, reverberators, C, articulators, D, receptacle. Okay, what are the nasal cavities part of? Ako ba'y nawala? Bakit parang wala pa akong nare-receive ng mga sagot? Hindi ka na. Okay. Medyo hindi ata kayo sigurado. Kaya, okay, medyo ano nga. Sige lang. No problem. That's not a problem. Okay. Okay, sige. Okay, no judgment, no? No judgment. So, I'm just happy receiving your responses. Actually, pag nakita nyo to sa board exam, nasal cavities, no? Nasal cavity, this is actually part of what we call resonators. Okay? It's okay if it's unfamiliar pag nakita sa board exam, lalabas siya. This is actually actual board exam din. So resonators ang isasagot natin. Remember, the nasal cavity here, no, can find it here. So the chest actually, the trachea tree, the larynx itself, the pharynx, the oral cavity, and the nasal cavity, and the sinuses are actually resonators. So it's part of resonators, which is also very important in our voice modulation, and then of course the way we actually produce sound in our in our um, in our way of communicating. Okay? So that's part of resonators. So pag tinanong din sa board exam, sige nga, tingnan nga natin, drill nga tayo using the chat box. Pag tinanong sa board exam, okay, ito yung mga pagpipilian nyo. For example, which of the following is called the voice box? Sige nga, ito ang pagpipilian nyo yung mga part na yan. Which is called the voice box? Okay, very good. May mga sumagot. Ayan, para at least na ano rin kayo, na tag dito, na-challenge ang inyong mga memory. That's correct. That is correct. So larynx is the voice box. Remember that pag nakita sa board exam, what is the voice box? Larynx. How about the windpipe? The windpipe. Okay, ano naman ang windpipe? Okay. Sumasagot ba? Okay, yung windpipe naman ninyo, okay. So wala naman po kasi dyan. Wala ba dyan? Okay, actually, yung windpipe ninyo ay... Okay, that's correct. Trachea. Okay, your windpipe is your trachea. O tinatawag din ng mga iba, trachea. Depende naman sa school. So pwede na rin. And of course, your throat. What is throat there? Nandyan na yung sagot. Sige, pili kayo. Ano naman yung throat dyan? That is your, of course, that is your pharynx. Okay, so basically, ito lang naman usually yung mga pwedeng maitanong din sa board exam. The rest, medyo hindi naman masyadong tinatanong. Okay, so next question. After 2 pregnancies, some of these mothers lose a pair of teeth or so. What could be the cause? A, let me order. A, lack of iron and other minerals in diet during pregnancies. B, diet during pregnancy lacks sulfur. C, too much sweets in diet. D, poor brushing habits. Tingnan nga natin. Okay, very good, no? Halos, halos tama. Kasi po, sir, pinakamahaba po siya. Isa po sa mga technique po namin, pag pinakamahaba, well-explained, yun po yung possible na sagot. Pag hindi po namin alam. Pwede naman ganon. But basically, ito talaga yung dahilan. It's lack of iron and other minerals in diet during pregnancy. So usually kasi, kapag buntis, no, ang isang babae, okay, during pregnancy, there is an increased level, no, of certain hormones gaya ng progesterone and estrogen sa mother's body during pregnancy. This could actually increase the risk ng mga nanay sa mga certain oral health problems. Okay, kaya kailangan talagang kailangan talaga rin kumain ng mga iron-rich and other mineral-rich food yung mga pregnant mothers so that they could actually avoid, no, some oral cavity problem or dental problems. Okay? Pag tinanong din sa board exam, no, what are the sex hormones, okay, ng babae? Of course, ang isasagot niya ay hindi iisa kundi dalawa, progesterone and estrogen. Okay? So female sex hormones, progesterone, estrogen. Male sex hormone, paki-type na sa ating chat box. Ano ang male sex hormone? Isa lang 'yon. Okay, very good. So that is testosterone. Okay, yung mga bio majors, you might find the review very easy, no? Kasi ang mga basic concept to sa bio. But of course, kailangan i-review natin to para pag tinanong ulit to sa board exam, alam na. Okay, hello, shout out to my bio major students there. Okay, next question. Science provides knowledge through disciplined observation. Which of the following is not a characteristic of scientific assertion? Okay, hindi ko na kailangan may border, meron mga tinanong kanina. So A, logic and validity. B, conformity with actual observation. C, empirical support. D, hearsay. Okay. Ayan, syempre po. Ang gaganda, no? Logic and validity, conformity with actual observation, empirical support. Hearsay, sabi-sabi, wala itong scientific assertion. It is not based from scientific fact or scientific information. So very good, that is the answer. Logic and validity, you need to have logic, no, in terms of your ideation, and validity in terms of checking whether that particular for example, claim is valid or not. Then conformity with actual observation, you base science, base your conclusion doon sa actual observation. It should be based on what you really observe. Empirical support, when you say empirical support or empirical evidence, these are evidences which were tested using several senses. Remember, we have 5 major senses, diba? Sense of sight, sense of hearing, sense of taste, sense of touch, and sense of smell. Okay? Ngayon, tinanong din sa board exam, so dahil pinag-usapan natin yung sense na yan. In terms of sense of taste, okay? Okay, in terms of sense of taste, what is considered to be the fifth taste? Ayan, check natin. Fifth taste. Anong sagot? Fifth taste. Okay, dahil meron nga naman tayong sour, sweet, bitter, and salty, right? So, what is considered to be the fifth taste? That is correct. Umami. Okay? So, i-ano natin kasi naka-direct message sila. Umami. Okay? Pag nakita sa board exam, fifth taste, umami. It could actually come out in Gen Ed or in your nature ship. Pag sinabing umami, it's actually Japanese word which means good flavor. In Filipino, we call it malinamnam. Okay? So next, what will happen, okay, to a cell in a hypertonic solution? A, the plant cell will have edema. B, the plant cell will rupture. C, no effect on the cell. D, the plant cell will shrink. Okay, ito favorite to ng PRC, no? Hypertonic and hypotonic solution. What is the answer, future top notchers? Yes. Ang gagaling naman ng mga estudyante natin. Okay. Okay, kung hindi nyo matama, it's okay It's okay. Kasi review naman to Diba? So the answer here is the plant cell will shrink. So hypertonic, pag hypertonic, pwede siyang mag-shrink, mag-shrivel, no? Ibig sabihin pwede siyang maging, ano ba sa Filipino yung parang ma-impis siya. I'll show you na lang the picture. Okay, so mag-shrink siya tulad nito, no? Medyo liliit siya, no? Water move out from the cell causing crenation or shrinking or shriveling, no? So, pag nakita sa board exam, ito yung technique ko lagi dyan para hindi ko makalimutan. Pag hypertonic, kasi syempre non-bio kayo or non-science, no? Pag hypertonic, no? Remember sa hypertonic, you have the letter R. Okay? Kaya kapag nakita nyo yung shrink, may R yan. Shrivel, may R yan. Hypertonic. No? Okay? Meaning that will shrivel or shrink. Okay? Hypertonic. Pag hypotonic, swell naman. Okay? Hypotonic, anong mangyayari? Magsiswell. Other term na pwede nyo makita sa board exam, hypotonic solution, burst. Okay? Hypotonic, swell, or burst. Okay? Pag isotonic, ayan. Overall, no, concentration are equal, then therefore cell remain constant. Iso means equal. Diba? So that is the water balance of our cell. Okay, sige nga, tingnan ko nga sa chat box. How do you call the study of cell? How do you call the study of cell? Baka matanong sa board exam. Bago natin ibigay yung next question. Okay, that is correct. No? So, tinatawag siyang cell biology or cytology. No? Cytology or cell biology. Who termed, no? Baka itanong sa board exam, Gen Ed Science. Who termed the word cell? Sino ang nagsabi or nag-coin ng term na cell? Kasi I remember na itanong na rin to in the Gen Ed Science. Pag at least alam natin, di ba? O pag tinanong yan, bonus mo na yan, alam mo ng sagot. Okay, medyo hindi ata sila familiar. Only one message me the answer. Okay, actually, okay, dalawa na sila. Okay, that's correct. Robert Hooke. Okay? Robert Hooke is the answer. So pag nakita sa board exam, bonus na yan, Robert Hooke. Okay, next question. Which of the following organism feeds on necrotic and decaying matter? Ito, medyo tricky question in issued by PRC. A, vulture. B, algae. D, parakeet. D, yeast. Okay, this is actually very tricky. No? Why I said so, makikita nyo mamaya. Kung bakit siya tricky question. Ayan. So there are two, no? There are two pwede, no? Tanggalin natin. Power of elimination, tanggalin natin algae, tanggalin natin ang parakeet. We go to A or D. Okay. Remember, if it's necrotic or decay, tapos matter siya, usually very we're talking about the very minute particles na pwedeng kainin ng isang organism. Because generally, there is a group of organisms that really feeds on this necrotic and decaying matter. And these are fungi. Remember, these are fungi. So between A and B, the nearest answer, although, okay, very tricky siya because ang sagot dito kasi is letter D, yeast, and not vulture. Remember, vulture feed on dead, okay, dead animals or dead bodies of animals. So usually they feed on that. Like for example, these are called scavengers, diba? When they actually feed on dead. No? And usually the one that they're feeding as medyo physically tangible, malalaki, no? Usually. But of course, bakit naman yeast? Because yeast is an example of fungi. This is one example of a tricky question na binibigyan ng PRC. And one word exam tip is that we should never question the question. Kasi nandun na tayo eh. Pag nandun na tayo, you choose the most relevant o yung pinakamalapit na pwedeng masagot kahit sa tingin mo walang tamang sagot. So ang pinakamalapit sa fungi dito is letter D, which is yeast. Okay? Because generally, ang claim kasi natin, necrotic and decaying matter, fungi. And anong example ng fungi dito? That is yeast. Okay? So, actually, lahat halos tama. No? Okay, very good pa rin naman kayo. Alam niyo pa rin. Okay? So, kingdom fungi is eukaryotic organisms that primarily feed on dead or decaying matter. They grow on their food source, secrete enzymes that digest their food outside their bodies, and absorb nutrients through their cell walls. Now, pag sinabing eukaryotic, okay, remember that eukaryotic cells have nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. Kagaya ng tao, kingdom Animalia. So, kingdom Animalia, kingdom fungi, kingdom plantae are actually examples of eukaryotic organisms. How about bacteria? These are prokaryotic organisms. Para hindi nyo makalimutan, pag tinanong sa board exam, anong klaseng cell meron ng tao? No? Eukaryotic. Ikaw, diba? Eukaryotic cell. Yung mga ginagawa kong mga para hindi makakalimutan. Then, of course, it can be multicellular, like mushrooms and molds, or unicellular, like yeast. Okay? So, next, by the way, how do you call the study of fungi? O baka itanong sa board exam. Pwedeng sa Gen Ed, pwedeng sa majorship. How do you call the study of fungi? It starts with letter M. Okay? Meron ba? Sige, ready ko na. Sa chat box. That is correct. Very good. No? Mycology. Mycologo. Mycoricum. Okay? Kaya hindi ko yung nakakalimutan. No? Mycology, mycoricum, mycologo. Ayan. So next, who is known as the father of taxonomy, modern taxonomy, and is responsible for coining Homo sapiens in humans? Yes. Ang bibilis niyang sumagot. Para sa board exam, hindi niya na talaga babasahin kasi pag Gen Ed, lang yan eh. Very objective, mabilisan yan. 2 hours, di ba? Okay, that is correct. Hindi na ako magpapatumpik-tumpik pa dito. The answer here is Linnaeus. So, ang full name niya is Carolus Linnaeus. Okay? Lagay natin sa chat box. Carolus Linnaeus. Pero, yan ay yung kanyang Latin name. Sa English, ang pangalan niya is Carl von Linné. Okay, kaya makikita nyo halos karamihan ng mga scientific names sa dulo may lin. Ibig sabihin, si Linnaeus ang nagpangalan ng mga scientific name na yon. At pag tinanong sa board exam, anong klaseng sistema ang pagpapangalan sa mga organism? Ano nga ba ang klaseng sistema? What is the classification system in naming organisms based on systematics or taxonomy? Ang isasagot nyo ay very good. Ang bibilis ninyo. Okay. Nakaka-proud. Napaproud naman ako. That is correct. Binomial nomenclature. So remember, it's binomial nomenclature. Ano yung dalawang component ng binomial nomenclature? Pag tinanong sa board exam. Okay, paki-type nyo nga. What are the two components of binomial? Kaya siya by dalawa. Ano yung dalawang yon? That is correct. The genus and species. Again, pag nakita niyo sa board exam, what are the two components of binomial nomenclature? Genus and species. Example, Homo sapiens. Pag tinanong sa board exam, in this example, Homo sapiens, what is the genus? Pakitype nga sa chat box, what is the genus? Homo or sapiens? Very good. Okay. Siyempre, Homo. Okay, the Homo here is genus, sapiens is species. Okay, very good kayo. Okay, ngayon. Okay. Punta tayo lang, bigyan ko lang ng konting ano lang. Pag tinanong naman sa board exam, who is considered to be the father of biology or father of zoology, ang isasagot niyo naman doon ay Aristotle. Pag tinanong lang, okay? Dahil father na rin ang pinag-uusapan natin, may dalawa pang father na laging tinatanong, okay? Sa board exam, okay? Father of evolution. Okay, pakitype nyo nga ang sagot, father of evolution. Okay, very good. So kapag father of evolution, hindi niya ninyo pag-iisipan Charles Darwin. Ano pa yung isa na laging tinatanong? Ito po. Yung isang laging tinatanong naman is father of genetics. Sino? Father of genetics. Very good. Ayan. Si Mendel. Gregor Johann Mendel. Okay, very good. Very interactive. Gusto ko yan. Sige, next. By the way, Carl Linnaeus developed modern zoological taxonomy during the 730s to 1750s. Sobrang tagal na. He named the human species as Homo sapiens in 1758 as the only member species of the genus Homo. So remember, Homo is a genus, divided into several subspecies corresponding to the great races. Latin noun homo, genitive hominis, means human being or wise man. At pag nakita sa board exam, homo, sapiens, sapiens, these actually refer to modern human. So pag tinanong ni PRC, homo sapiens sapiens refer to blank, modern humans. Tayo yon, mga modern humans. Okay, next. The hierarchy of biology taxonomy has how many levels? Ito, very ilang beses na rin lumabas. The hierarchy of biological taxonomy has how many levels? What is your answer? 10, 5, 6, or 8? Ayan. May mga hindi sure, it's okay. No problem, no? No problem. Okay. Yung iba talagang walang question mark, sure na sure sila. Okay, tama naman. Okay. So the answer here, teachers, is 8. Huwag kakalimutan na, hindi nyo na yung pag-iisipan. Pag nakita nyo yung tanong na to, hierarchy of biology taxonomy 8. Hierarchy of biology taxonomy 8. Sir, ano ba yung taxonomy? Science of classification. Remember, science of classification. So pag tinanong ng PRC, which of the following is science of classification? Ang sagot, taxonomy. Anong other name ng taxonomy? Biosystematics. Para sa mga bio majors. Biosystematics. Pero baka itanong din yan sa Gen Ed. This is also known as biosystematics, taxonomy. Who is the father of taxonomy? Linnaeus. Okay? Sir, ano yung 8 na yan? Sige, tingnan natin. Gumagamit ako dito ng mnemonics para hindi ko makalimutan. Okay? Actually, ang ginagamit kong mnemonics is Don King Philip. Si Don na nga siya, king pa siya. Philip kasi, Philippines, okay. Don King Philip came to order fresh green spinach. Si Don King Philip pumunta daw para mag-order ng fresh green spinach, okay. So yun yung akin, okay. Ang ibig sabihin nito actually is domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. May instance before na tinanong PRC, pina-arrange ito, pero hindi kompleto. Parang phylum, class, order, family. Parang ganon. Or order, family, genus, and species. Pag alam nyo yung mnemonics na ibibigay ko sa inyo, mabilis na lang ninyo itong masagutan. Pag tinanong sa board exam, the basic unit of classification, species. The highest unit of classification, highest level, domain. Okay? Ilan ang domain? Pag tinanong sa board exam, there are 3 domains. Okay? Meron tayong 3 domain. Okay? The domain Archaea, domain Eukarya, and domain Eubacteria. Okay, para sa bio-majors na to, pero malay nyo, itanong din sa Gen Ed, di ba? So Archaea, Eukarya, Eubacteria. Ang pinaka-importante ninyong malaman dito, saan ka dyan? Okay, sige nga, hulaan nyo nga kung saan kayo dyan sa 3. Type nyo nga sa chat box, in which domain do humans belong? Yan ang tanong sa board exam. Anong isasagot, teachers? Very good kayo sa akin talaga, no? Ang bibilis. Correct. Eukarya. Dahil, bakit naman eukarya? Sinabi na natin kanina yan. Eukaryotic cell. Meron kang eukaryotic para hindi mo makalimutan, eukaryotic. Ayan, eukaryotic. Yan yung klase ng cell na meron ka. Hindi ka pwedeng maging prokaryotic kasi prokaryotic cell, other synonym ng prokaryotic cell is bacterial cell. Okay, sige. Bigay ko na yung mnemonics. Ito, no? Green yan, sorry. Sabaw na ako kagabi kasi hindi dapat ko schedule this afternoon, pero sige, no problem. So, green spinach, okay? Pero, meron ka pang pwede na gamitin dito na mas personalized kasi nagre-review ka, di ba? So, pwedeng gamitin mo ito. Dream kong pumasa because our family gusto sahod. Diba? So, although, medyo parang ano siya na parang, syempre naman magbabalik naman tayo ng ano natin, di ba? Pag nagkasweldo tayo later on, di ba? May pera na tayo, may sahod na tayo, masaya rin yung family natin. So, dapat kang pumasa. So, dream kong pumasa, sana hindi lang yan dream, kundi gagawin niyo yan. Especially for those who will be taking the exam this September. Dream kong pumasa kasi our family gusto sahod. We all want sahod, di ba? Sino ba naman hindi? So, I don't know kung saan dyan yung pwedeng mas mabilis din yung ma-remember, but remember the species and the domain. These are mostly common questions na sinasabi or binabanggit or sinasaman sa board exams sa Janet Time. Okay? Magbigay lang tayo ng example. Say for example, yung Homo sapiens. So, Homo sapiens is the species, Homo is the genus. Ang family natin is hominid, order primata or primates, class mammalia. Remember, we have mammary gland. So ang tanong, may mammary gland din ba ang mga lalaki? Yes or no? Sige nga, tingnan nga sa board exam. May mammary gland din ba ang mga lalaki? Okay, baka itanong kasi yan sa Gen Ed Science. Ang sagot ay, of course, yes. It's not only babae. Kaya lang hindi tayo, male, do not produce milk. Pero may mga instances na may mga lalaki na nakakapag-produce. These are rare cases. It's because wala tayong estrogen and progesterone which actually responsible for that. Then of course, phylum Chordata. So pag tinanong sa board exam, anong phylum mo, ang isasagot mo sa board exam is Chordata. Chordata. Ay, sorry. Wrong spelling, wrong title. Chordata. Okay? Chordata or chordate. English kasi. English is chordate. Okay? Ano pa? Okay. So wait lang, may chat si Doc. Okay, so that's it, no? So that is Chordata. Ano ba? Animalia. So pag tinanong anong kingdom natin, of course, Animalia. So naniniwala ka na ba na isa kang animal? That's a point of reflection. Okay, next. Kingdom Plantae include which organisms? A. Prokaryotes, B. Magnolidae, C. Fungi, D. Protozoa. Okay, sige nga. Uy, ang bibilis nila, oh. Very good talaga. That is correct. Of course. Yan, sige. Okay, so the answer there is, of course, Magnolidae. So pag plant, usually, okay, mga ano to, usually mga division ito, no? Magnolidae, yeah. Magnolidae, magnolia. Remember, magnolia is a flowering plant, remember. Prokaryote, hindi siya pwedeng plantae. Remember kanina sinabi ko, prokaryotic cell, synonym bacterial cell. So anong kingdom ng mga bacteria? Sila ay nabibilang sa kingdom Archaebacteria, and then kingdom Eubacteria. So dalawa, no? Isang Archaebacteria, wrong spelling naman yung archaea ko. Archaebacteria, sorry. Archaebacteria, then kingdom Eubacteria. These are two. Remember the 6 kingdom classification? O, meron na tayo nabanggit na 1 and 2. Sige, dagdagan natin. 3. Isama na natin yan. Kingdom Plantae. Okay. 4. Tayo. Kingdom Animalia. Okay. 5. Yung iyong mga mushroom. Kingdom Fungi. Oh, ano pa? 6. Kingdom Protista. Okay? So in the 6 kingdom classification, wag niyong kakalimutan itong 6 na to. Okay? The kingdom Eubacteria and Archaebacteria, that's for your prokaryotic, that's your bacterial cells, bacterial organisms. Kingdom Plantae, like Magnolidae, these are actually plants. These are our flora. Okay? Pag kingdom Animalia, tao, at yung ibang mga hayop, animals. Fauna. Okay? Diba? Remember the flora, plants, fauna, animals. Fungi, these are your mushrooms, molds, yan yung mga ano nyo, mga fungi. Fungus, singular, fungi, marami. Kingdom Protista, these are your protozoa. These are your algae. No? Yan yung mga inyong mga protease. Ang tawag sa mga yan, protease, protozoa, algae, ayan, sa kingdom Protista. So pag tinanong sa board exam, what is the widely accepted kingdom classification? The 6 kingdom system. Okay? Ayan. So this is actually an example of Magnolidae. Magnolia, this is actually a Magnolia under Magnolidae. This is actually a sample of a prokaryotic cell, bacterial cell. Ang tanong sa board exam, may nucleus ba ang bacterial cell or prokaryotic cell? Yes or no? Sige nga, pag yan ang tanong ng board exam, may nucleus ba ang bacterial cell or prokaryotic cell? Ang isasagot nyo guys ay, teachers, ay none. Wala. No. So because ang kanyang DNA, so pag tinanong sa board exam, natanong na to before, I don't know if it's in gen ed or majorship, saan pala? Nasaan pala ang DNA ng bacterial cell? Is eukaryotic cell, nasa nucleus. Ang sagot ay nucleoid. Kung titingnan mo rito, ito siya. The nucleoid here, okay, contains the DNA suspended in the cytoplasm. Okay? So yun lang muna. And then, of course, your fungi and then the different protease. No? So amoeba, paramecium, euglena, yan, trypanosoma, and the rest. Okay? So next question. Organisms that decompose substances into products that can be useful are called blank. A. Herbivores. B. Saprolites. C. Carnivores. D. Saprophytes. Okay. Okay. I'm getting an interesting responses here. Okay, the correct answer dahil decomposed substances, decomposition, these are actually saprophytes. So pag nakita sa board exam, organism that decompose substances into products, saprophytes. Pag sinabing herbivores, these are plant-eating heterotrophs. Okay, ito yung mga kumakain ng plants. Tayo din can be considered as herbivore because we consume plants. Okay, saprolites, wala yan. Ano lang yan? Destructor. And carnivores are actually flesh-eating consumers. Okay? So saprophytes are more generally plants, fungi, or microorganisms that live on dead or decomposing matter. And this is the typical lifestyle of mushrooms, which of course considered to be fungi. Okay? So saprophytes. Next, which of the following is a heterotroph? A. Algae, B. Grasshopper, C. Fern, D. Moss. Okay, sige, may nalagpas. Okay lang, no problem. Very good, no? Perfect kay lahat. Sige, that's very easy. Grasshopper. Pag tinanong sa board exam, pag nakita niyo sa board exam, ang ibig sabihin ng heterotroph, consumers. Hindi sila kayang makapag-create ng kanilang sariling pagkain tulad natin. Tulad ng tao, tulad ng grasshopper, na nakadepende sa mga tinatawag nating letter A. Saan sila dumedepende? Pakichat nyo nga. Saan dumedepende ang mga heterotroph? Letter A? Very good. So that is autotroph. So pag nakita sa board exam, Autotroph, pag binaliktad ang tanong, which of the following is a autotroph? Yan. Pwedeng algae, pwedeng fern, pwedeng moss. Kasi fern and moss under plantae, then algae under your Protease. So basically, these can be considered as autotrophs. And of course, shore grasshopper is consumer, which is heterotroph. Okay. Next question. What organism would most likely be in an Arctic environment? Okay. A, crocodile. B, walrus. C, turtle. D, Maya bird. Of course. Very good. Perfect kayong lahat dyan. Walrus. So, walrus is actually most likely be in an Arctic environment. Ilang beses na rin natanong tong tanong na ito sa board exam. So, kapag nakita nyo na to, hindi nyo na ito, huwag na kayong mag-second thought. It's walrus. So, crocodile is not, turtle not really. Maya is bird. Okay, ang tanong ko ngayon, ano ang turtle? What is turtle? Is it amphibian or reptile? Baka itanong sa board exam. Turtle, amphibian or reptile? Sige, message, chat nyo nga yung sagot nyo in our chat box. Okay. Alright, of course. So, ang sasagot sa board exam is reptile. Reptile is turtle, not amphibian. Okay? So, basically, this is how walrus looks like. Okay? Very friendly. Okay? And it's actually in an Arctic environment. Okay? Next question. Predation is a relationship exemplified by a blank. A, hunter shooting a duck in the forest and having it for dinner. B, a clownfish living within a sea anemone. C, a tapeworm living in the gastrointestinal tract of a toddler. Or letter D, an orchid attached to the trunk of a narrow tree. Okay. Alright. Very good. Siyempre, di ba? Pag predation, ano yung dalawang organisms involved in predation? Okay, pakichat nyo nga. What are the two organisms involved in predation? Very good. It's actually the predator and prey. So the predator are the one who does the killing. So siya yung papatay. The prey is the one who is or which is being killed or pinapatay. So in this example, that is correct. Tama kayong lahat. Hunter shooting a duck in the forest. So the hunter is the predator while the duck is the prey. Okay. Next question. Future top notchers. Letter B is an example of what symbiotic relationship? Letter B is an example of what symbiotic relationship? Clownfish and sea anemone. That is correct. So letter B is an example of mutualism because they both, though the sea anemone and the clownfish both receives benefit. Ang tawag natin sa benefit na to, kung medyo i-high natin yung ating conceptual understanding, we call this as obligatory benefit. So may obligatory benefit si clownfish, may obligatory benefit din si sea anemone. Letter C. Ano naman yung C? What type of symbiotic relationship? A tapeworm living in the gastrointestinal tract of a toddler. Ano naman yan? Yes, it's para, no? Parasitic. Okay? So there are two organisms involved in parasitism. Pag tinanong sa GenEd, what are the two organisms involved? Kasi mahilig si ano dyan eh, PRC eh. Mga basic concept na yan eh. Okay, that is correct. Very good. The host and the parasite. So sino ang host dito? Si toddler. Sinong parasite? Si tapeworm. And then letter D, an orchid attached to the trunk of a tree. O, sige, sagutan. Ano namang symbiotic relationship? Yung letter D. Very good. That is commensalism. Okay? Opo, tama po kayo doon. Okay, very good talaga kayo. Okay, commensalism. Oh, alam nyo na ha, alam nyo na yung mga yan. Pag yan, inikot lang ni PRC, alam nyo na yung sasagot. Okay? Predation, mutualism, parasitism, commensalism. Okay? Remember, Pero hindi ko na ibabanggit ito. This is more of bio. Sa commensalism, meron kasi pa tayong tinatawag na inquilism and ano yung isa? Inquilism and sige, sa bio major ko na lang yung i-share. Hindi ko na pasasakitin ulo niyo. Okay, next question. A mango tree is planted beside the sampaguita plant in a garden. They demonstrate blank. A, mutualism. B, competition. C, predation. D, commensalism. Okay, dahil wala tayong example kanina sa previous question nito, ang sagot dito ay, that is correct. Letter, okay, thank you very much. No? Hindi pa rin kayo napapagod sumagot. Competition. Why? Because they have to compete in the limited source of nutrients. Diba? The mango tree beside a sampaguita plant. Okay? So pag tinanong sa board exam, what is the scientific name of mango? Okay? Kasi common to eh, 'di ba? Very basic ito. So ang isasagot ninyo ay, sige nga, meron bang may alam ng scientific name ng mango? Yes, meron naman. That's correct. Mangifera indica. Okay? So pag tinanong sa board exam, ano naman ang tatanong. Ayun na nga. Sa scientific name ng sampaguita, that's correct. Jasminum sambac naman. Okay? Jasminum sambac is the scientific name of sampaguita. Okay, very good. Okay, next. The following are homologous organs, except ito rin. Madalas itanong ang homologous at analogous in the board exam. A, cell's flipper. B, bat's wing. C, human arm. D, fish tail. The following are homologous organs. Except, may exception. Uy, bigla kayo na nahimik ha. Parang iisa pala yung sumagot. Ha, medyo hindi familiar siguro. Sige, okay lang. It's okay. Okay? It's okay. Nakita nyo, no? Flipper, yung flipper ng seal, yung wing ng bat, yung human arm, di ba? Halos homologous to, except yung buntot ng fish. Okay? Pag sinabi natin homologous organs, no? Right? At analogous, so tingnan natin. But the correct answer here is letter B, fish tail. So pag sinabi kasi natin homologous organs, okay? Organs having similar structure. Okay? Like for example, yung arms natin, yung forelimb ng horse are homologous organs. So basically, yung examples natin kanina, balikan natin, so flipper, wings, human arm, these are similar in structure. Analogous naman, organs having similar function. Okay? Example, lungs of arthropods and lungs of mammals are analogous organs with similar function. But of course, they have different origins. And then yung isa, no? Yung pag nakita nyo naman sa board exam niyo, vestigial organ, no? Tinanong natin to in the Gen Ed Science. Pag sinabing vestigial organ, these are organs which are now useless or which do not have a specific function anymore. Okay? An organ that once was useful in an animal's evolutionary past, but that now is useless. Okay? So basically, ito yung mga organs na parang wala namang function na, no? Na hindi na siya a functioning. So pag nakita sa board exam dyan is vestigial organ. Okay? So to illustrate the homologous, so ito yun, no? The human arm, the cat's arm, the whale, the wing of the bat, these are in similar structure. So these are homologous organs. So pag nakita sa board exam yung fishtail, yun yung exemption. Okay? Next. Which of the following is a segmented worm that can be used to facilitate anticoagulation? A, bloodworms. B, earthworms. C, maggots. D, leeches. Nung iba talagang talagang pati keyword kinatay para for retention siguro. Okay lang. Of course, that is leeches. No? Several times na rin to, no? Paborito din to ng PRC. Okay na itanong. Remember, lahat ng mga tanong sa aking slide are actual board exam questions. So pag inulit nila, alam nyo na dapat ang isasagot. Pag nakita nyo agad segmented worm, sure, segmented worm din naman yung earthworm. Hindi muna kayo doon titigil. Punta ka sa facilitate anticoagulation. It's the leeches that facilitate anticoagulation, no? Para maampat yung bleeding din. No? So it can actually facilitate anticoagulation. Ayan. So kung titignan niyo dito, meron tayong earthworm. Okay? Pag usually ang mga tanong sa earthworm, yung kanyang being hermaphrodite, no? Having both the male and female, no, sex organ. So basically ang tawag natin doon is hermaphroditism. Okay? Ayan, or hermaphroditism or hermaphrodite. So for leech, usually it facilitates anticoagulation. So ang dalawang ito ay example ng phylum. Okay, type natin. Annelida. Pag nakita sa board exam, anong ang ibig sabihin ng Annelida? Segmented worms. Okay? Annelida, segmented worms. Nematoda, sorry sa mga spelling siglit lang natin. Nematoda, round worms. Tatandaan na, nematoda, round worms. Okay? Annelida, segmented worms. Nematoda, round worms. Platyhelminthes, flatworms. Ayan. Ganito sa online, no? Pero pag may board, mabilis na lang. Pero anyway, so platyhelminthes, pag nakita sa board exam, teka lang. Sounds like yan, pero ang spelling niya dapat ito. I-correct ko lang. Platyhelminthes, yan. Flatworms. Kasi usually ganito yan. Sa Gen Ed, pwedeng sabihin nila, which of the following phylum are consists of flatworms. Ayun, Platyhelminthes, Nematoda, Annelida, Chordata. Of course, ang sasagutin nyo, Platyhelminthes. Roundworms, Nematoda. Segmented worms, Annelida. Okay? That's part of your animal kingdom. Monosaccharides, oligosaccharides, and polysaccharides are types of blank. A proteins, B lipids, C nucleotides, D carbohydrates. Sige, sagot. Of course. Very good kayong lahat. These are carbohydrates. So pag nakita sa board exam, mono, oligo, poly, these are carbohydrates. Saccharides, sugar, carbohydrates. Okay? Remember the building block of carbohydrates, we have your sugar or glucose. So pag tinanong sa board exam, how do you call what is the building block of carbohydrates? Glucose. O pag ang tanong sa board exam, what is the building block of protein? Sige nga, sagutin nyo nga sa chat box. What is the building block of protein? Sagot? Okay, kasi tinanong na rin to sa board exam, Gen Ed Science. So kailangan alam nyo yan. Very good. Protein is amino acid. Pag tinanong, what is the building block of lipids or fats? Sagot, kahit isa lang. Very good. No? Fatty acid and glycerol. Oh, ano naman ang building block ng Wait lang. Ano ang building block ng nucleic acid? Very good. So, nucleotides. Okay? So, alam na natin yan ha. Carbohydrate, glucose and sugar, protein, amino acid, lipid, fatty acid, and glycerol, nucleic acid, nucleotides. Very good. Anong tawag sa apat na to? Sige nga, anong tawag sa apat na to? 1, 2, 3, 4. These are? Ayan, iba-ibang sagot pero parehong tama. Okay? Pinatype ko lang, sorry. Biomolecules or macromolecules. So pag nakita sa board exam, these four are termed as macromolecules. Biomolecules, parehong tama. Okay, very good. Next. By the way, these are the different types of carbohydrates. Monosaccharide, 1 sugar molecule. Disaccharide, 2 sugar molecules. Oligosaccharides, 2 to 10. Polysaccharide, 10 or more. Okay, so very basic, of course, the glucose. Okay, then fructose and galactose, these are monosaccharides. For biomajors, tandaan nyo to, memorize nyo na to, no? Huwag nyo kalimutan. Kasi usually tanong, which of the following is a monosaccharide? Which of the following is a disaccharide? So paalam nyo na yan, sucrose, lactose, and maltose, these are disaccharide. Okay? Next question. If carbohydrates are hydrophilic organic compounds, lipids are blank organic compounds. A, simple. B, polypeptide. D, hydrophobic. D, biomolecules. Okay. Okay, so halos pare-pareho ang sagot. Very good. So parang tinitingnan lang natin dito is parallelism. Of course, kung may hydrophilic, meron ding hydrophobic. Pag hydrophilic, no, lagay natin sa chat box natin. Hydrophilic, ang tawag natin dyan is water loving. Okay, water loving, no? Pag hydrophobic, okay, water-fearing. No? So usually, mga lipids is water-fearing. They are immiscible. Diba? Diba? I remember your chemistry. Diba? The miscibility. No? Pag miscibility. Okay? Pag sinabi natin miscibility, it has the capacity or property to be mixed. No? So water and water could actually be mixed. Diba? Water and oil cannot. It's immiscible. So pag hindi siya ma-mix, these are immiscible. Ibig sabihin, cannot be mixed. Okay? Okay, if you have questions, pwede nyong type lang sa chat box. No? So ayan na. So biomolecules, alam niyo na yan, or macromolecules. We have lipid, we have nucleic acid, we have carbohydrate, and we have protein. Okay? So next question. Yan. By the way, these are lipids, no, hydrophobic sila, non-polar, usually for energy storage, building membranes, and chemical signaling. No? So pag nakita sa board exam, it can also be used as energy storage, building membrane, chemical signaling, lipids din yan. And then usually ang tinatanong din sa board exam, which of the following biomolecule serves as thermal insulator? Okay, pag nakita sa board exam yan, thermal insulator, ang isasagot nyo dyan ay lipids. No? Thermal insulator. Okay, kaya yung medyo malulusog, sabihin natin, no? Excuse me for the term, pag sabihin natin matataba, medyo hindi sila ganun lamigin compared sa aming mga, hindi ba masyadong matataba, kaya nilalamig na ako, no? So, talagang naka-jacket ako, sobrang lamig. But of course, lipids, no, when we say lipids, it has four main types: your fats, waxes, steroids, and your phospholipids. I'm not going to delve this further. Ipaubayan na natin to sa mga bio major. Okay, next question. What is, or oxygen is the waste product of the process of blank? A, carburetor X host, B, oxidation, C, photosynthesis, D, conversion. Okay, what's the answer? Feature top notcher. Sa mga kapapasok po, you can direct message me, or you can paste it in everyone if you want. Walang problema. All right. If you're confident, put it everyone, or if you're not yet, you can put it in direct message. Sige. Of course, that is photosynthesis. Sinabi na natin to kanina, no? So pag binaligtad yung tanong, what is the waste product of photosynthesis? Ang isasagot mo ay oxygen. Pag tinanong naman, ingat, drill ulit. Pag tinanong naman sa board exam, what is considered to be the byproduct of photosynthesis? Sige nga, sagutin nyo nga yan. Alam niyo na yung waste product, oxygen. Pag iniba yung tanong, byproduct naman, anong isasagot niyo? Sige nga. Okay, iba-iba. Natutuwa naman ako sa mga sagot nyo. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Alright. Sige. Bakit wala ba nakakatama? Okay lang yan, no judgment, this is a safe space. So ang sagot natin dapat din ay walang iba kundi oxygen din. No, nilito ko lang kayo. At pwede rin kayong lituin ng PRC, no? Kapag nakita niyo sa board exam, waste product of photosynthesis, oxygen. Byproduct of photosynthesis, oxygen. Sir, bakit siya tinawag na byproduct? Kasi hindi siya yung main product eh. Parang ano na lang siya, na-release na lang siya bigla-bigla, diba? Remember, the main product is glucose, which is the source of our energy. Okay? So next. So ito yon, diba? Na-discuss ko na rin to kanina. So we have our raw materials. So pag tinanong what are the raw materials, carbon dioxide, water, of course, in the presence of light. So we have 6 carbon dioxide plus 6 water. So ano magiging main product mo? C6H12O6. So pag nakita sa board exam, C6H12O6, that is sugar, that is your glucose. What is the other product? Oxygen. Okay? 6 molecules of oxygen. Alright. So, saan nangyayari ang photosynthesis? Sige nga, ilagay nga sa chat box. Pwedeng direct message or pwedeng everyone. Sige. Where does photosynthesis take place? Ayun ang tanong ng PRC. Ano sasagot mo, teachers? Okay, handa ko na rin yung sagot ko. Oh, ay parang walang sumasagot. Medyo hindi pa ano, baka kalimutan na. Meron namang sumagot na. Okay, very good. Sige. So pag nakita yan, tama kayo. Buuin ko lang. Okay. So chloroplast is the site of photosynthesis. Remember that, teachers, no? Chloroplast is the site of photosynthesis. Pag binaligtad ang tanong, saan naman nangyayari ang cellular respiration? Anong isasagot mo? Where does cellular respiration take place? Pag yan ang tanong sa board exam. What is your answer? Future top-notchers? Ayan, medyo ano sila. Sige, medyo tahimik ng konti. Pero sige, meron ng isa. That is correct. Thank you so much. No? Cellular respiration is mitochondrial. Or mitochondria pag marami. Okay, so alam nyo na yan ha. Huwag kakalimutin yung mga sinasabi ko. Next. What is the process used by plant to convert the energy from sunlight into chemical energy? A, photosynthesis, B, diffusion, C, photochemical conversion, D, cytolysis. Nasagot nyo, teachers? Okay. Sir, ang dadali naman ng tanong. Yan ang binigay ng PRC, di ba? Sana rin, ganito lang din kadadali for Gen Ed Science, no? Focusing on biological science. Siyempre, the right answer here is from convert energy from sunlight into chemical energy, we go to the umbrella term. I remember that. Since this is a basic Gen Ed question, energy nanggagaling sa sunlight, anong klaseng energy na yan ulit? Light energy. No? Tinatawag din siyang solar energy. Tinatawag din siyang radiant energy. So kukunin yun, pupunta yun ngayon, and then ika-capture ngayon ito no, ng chlorophyll na kung saan itong energy na to, this light energy, this radiant energy, this solar energy will now be converted into chemical energy through the process of photosynthesis. Huwag kakalimutan. Kaya photo meaning light, synthesis meaning production. No? So production of synthesizing or production of light. But of course, that is to produce your main product, which is your glucose. Okay, next. Ayan, no? The sunlight, you have your oxygen as byproduct or waste product, sugar as your main product, carbon dioxide, and of course, your water as your raw materials. Okay? Ano ba pwedeng tinatanong sa photosynthesis? Usually for Gen Ed, yun lang naman. Ganun lang naman kadali lang. Okay? If you have questions sa chat box, you can direct message me so I can clarify. Next, which of the following convert the energy from sunlight into chemical energy? Ayan. Yeah. A, plants, B, animals, C, virus, D, mammals. Yan, bibilis ng sagot. Pag alam na alam, ganito kabilis. Okay, very. So naano ko na kung pag alam na alam ninyo, mabilis ang sagot eh. No? So that's correct. Okay? Ano ang tawag? Okay? Ano ang general or scientific term or chemical term ninyo sa mga plants na ito na nagko-convert ng energy from sunlight into chemical energy? Starts with letter A. Okay, kunyari, ibinago ng PRC, ayaw niya ng plants. Sinabi niya yung chemical term ng plants o ng mga photosynthetic organism. These are autotrophs. Okay, very good. Ayan, na-late lang, pero that's correct. Autotrophs. Ang mga animals ay considered to be heterotrophs. Ay, very good, no? Virus. Ano pa bang pwede nating matanong sa virus? Sige, mamaya may tanong pang isa dyan sa virus mamaya. Okay, these are photosynthetic organisms, plants, algae, some protease, and cyanobacteria, all contain chlorophyll. So pag tinanong sa board exam, plants lang ba ang may chlorophyll? False. No, hindi. Meron ding algae. Remember, algae are example of protease, then some protease, then cyanobacteria. Okay, all contain chlorophyll. So we have absorbing light energy and beginning photosynthesis. We have the chlorophyll A, the blue-green, then the chlorophyll B, the yellow-green. Okay? So, remember, all photosynthetic organisms use chlorophyll A as the primary pigment. Okay? Chlorophyll A. Ayun, question daw, bakit daw green ang dahon? So, why do leaves appear green? Okay? Because Yung green light, yun yung nire-reflect natin back to the atmosphere. So if the green light is being reflected back to the atmosphere, what we see is green color. Bakit, for example, blue yung damit ko ngayon? Bakit, why do you see that my jacket is blue? It's because the blue light is being reflected back to the atmosphere and the rest of the color of light are absorbed. So that's why it's blue. So gano'n na, pag tinanong sa board exam, reflected back, hindi absorbed. Okay, again, reflect back, not absorb. Pag ni-reflect back, yun yung makikita natin. The rest are absorbed, hindi natin makikita. Okay? So, I think may one question na rin yun noon. No? Parang natanong na rin yung ganong question na bakit kaya green ang dahon? Because the green light is being reflected back to the atmosphere. No? So, may pwede kayong magtanong ha. Kung kaya ko sa pag hindi, assignment natin yan. Pero sige, I'll do my best. Okay? Next. Okay, I'm happy 42 na tayo in the Zoom platform. Thank you for taking your time with me kahit ano lang to, hanggang 4 p.m. Kung hindi ko man mas tapos yung iba dito, I'll find time. Kasi nag-focus lang muna ako sa bahay, but I will have another schedule for other concepts. Again, carbon dioxide is produced by plants in the evening, afternoon, noon, morning. Okay, so mabilis din silang sumagot ha. Very good, no? Yes, that is correct. No, sa pag nakita nyo itong tanong na to sa board exam, evening ito. Okay? It's evening. Although hindi lang naman evening. Meron ding instances that carbon dioxide is produced in the morning. But majority of this carbon dioxide is being produced by plants in the evening or at night. Kung wala kayong nakitang evening, at night, pareho lang. Okay? So, hey, next. Next question. Ayan siya, no? So, photosynthesis at day, oxygen is being released, carbon dioxide is being absorbed. In nighttime, for cellular respiration, carbon dioxide is being produced. Okay? Next, what are the hormones responsible for plant growth, promoting auxiliary bud growth, and apical dominance? A, auxins and gibberellins. B, cytokinins and gibberellins. C, auxins and abscisic acid. D, cytokinins and auxins. Oh, we're talking about plant hormones here. What is your answer? Future top notchers, no? Nandito ang aking mga bio majors. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, syempre dapat alam nyo yan. Okay. So yan, cytokinins and auxins. So pag cytokinins and auxins, plant growth. Remember, cyto. Okay, kinin, cyto usually cell growth, plant growth, promoting auxiliary bud growth, auxin, auxiliary. Okay, yung mga ganong term. Okay, then apical dominance. Yes, those are responsible for the growth of the plant. That's correct. Okay, so ano to mga to? These are called phytohormones or plant hormones. So tinatawag siyang phytohormones. So pa yung mga plants pala may hormones din, no? Yes, hindi lang mga animals. And these are some of them. So gibberellin stimulates breakdown of stored food to facilitate germination. So pag nakita nyo, facilitate germination, sprouting of leaves, gibberellin. Okay, especially bio majors na alam yan. Auxin is cell growth. Yan. Cell elongation, promoting the growth of terminal buds, fruit formation, yan, auxin. Cytokinin, cyto, diba? Cell growth, cell division, cell differentiation, cytokinins, diba? Then abscisic acid, usually dormancy of embryo, dropping of ripened leaves and fruits. No? So kapag nahinog na yung leaf, kunyari na ibig sabihin na tumanda na yung leaves at masyado nang ripen yung fruit, nalalaglag, abscisic acid yun. Pag naman yung embryo dormant, usually yung mga ibang buto na hindi na natubo because of the abscisic acid. No? Ethylene, ito, ripening of leaves and fruits. Pag nakita nyo, ripening of fruits, yun usually tinatanong PRC, ripening of fruits, ethylene. No? Excess amount of ethylene causes dropping of leaves then and fruits. Okay, naturally, ang ethylene meron sa mga prutas. Kaya kung kunyari, hinog na saging, okay, yung isang hinog na saging, dahil magkakalapit yung isang, anong tawag doon, ticklis ba yun, ng saging, mabilis niyang mapapainog din yung iba. Kasi, tawag dito, internally, no, naturally, they possess ethylene, which is, of course, very responsible for fruit ripening. Next question. An ant colony stores food in the summer, defends itself by stinging enemies, and invades a competing ant colony and steals larvae and uses them as new workers. What is the term to best describe how these species copes with everyday life? A. Ecological defeat. B. Ecological habitation. C. Ecological niche. D. Ecological success. Okay, alam na alam din nila ito, di ba? Oh, very good, no? Almost perfect. That's correct. Actually perfect, but hindi almost. That is ecological niche. Yes. So pag sinabing ecological niche, no? Pag sinabing niche, the role of organism in an ecosystem. For example, tinanong ka, what is your niche in life? What is your role in life, no? Okay. Of course, alam mo yan. You are a consumer, di ba? Isa kang tao, isa kang consumer, isa kang heterotroph, isa kang palaasa sa mga autotroph. So, kain ka lang, no? You cannot, di ba? You don't have the capacity to manufacture your own food. So, you are considered to be heterotroph. Okay? So that is one of the roles that we have. Of course, in this particular, nakita niyo yung role nila in terms of storing food, okay, protecting themselves, physiological mga function. So that is ecological niche. Habitat, on the other hand, is the home, kung saan sila nakatira. Okay? So this is the place where a particular organism thrives or lives. So to further differentiate that, so ito yon, diba? So when you say habitat, a place or part of an ecosystem occupied by a particular organism. Well, niche is the role of an organism within its environment or ecosystem. Okay? So for habitat, physical place. For niche, function or activity. Kaya nakita niyo yung example kanina, di ba, doon sa stimulus natin. It shows the different activities of an ant colony. Then for habitat, it reflects the living place of an organism. It reflects its biotic and abiotic association with the environment in terms of its diet, di ba, ano kinakain niya, paano sila nagpaparami, reproduction, and other activities. Okay? So that is niche and habitat. Favorite din ito, ni PRC, habitat and niche. Next. Eutrophication, which causes the depletion of dissolved oxygen and water, results into A. Decrease in aquatic plants, B. Abundant sea harvest, C. Decrease in dissolved nutrients, D. Diminished sea harvest. What is the answer? Eutrophication, that depletes dissolved oxygen and water. What will be the result? Okay. Naku, mukhang mukhang hindi familiar yung tanong Walang masyadong nagsagot. Sige. Nawawala na naman ako. Dito naman ako. Alright. Sige. Dahil ibigay na natin yung sagot. Or baka na-delay ako. I don't know. Andito na, dumami na ulit. Okay. Sige. So the answer is letter D. So kapag eutrophication kasi, okay, nadideplete yung dissolved oxygen doon sa dagat or doon sa aquatic environment. Ang nangyayari, pag nadideplete yung dissolved oxygen, sana hindi ako nawawala. Pag nadideplete yung dissolved oxygen, okay, what will happen? Of course, walang source ng oxygen ang mga organisms such as fishes. So, ano mangyayari? Magkakaroon ng fish kills. Okay? Mamamatay sila. So, pag namatay sila, may aanihin ba ang ating mga fisher fox, 'di ba? Wala. Diminished sea harvest. Bababa ang magiging harvest ng ating mga ng mga fisher fox. Bakit hindi ko sinasabing fishermen? Remember, gender fair na tayo ngayon. 'Di ba? Equal dapat. Hindi dapat men, men. 'Di ba? Very dominant. Fishermen. 'Di ba? Dapat fisher fox. Farmers is gender fair. Chairman is not. So, chairperson. Ganon. So, titignan niyo rin yan sa Gen Ed English nyo later on. Baka maitanong yung sa gender fair language. May tanong po ba? So far, parang may nag-unmute. Or baka napindot, so i-mute ko na lang. Wala. Okay, next question. ayan, yung eutrophication, no? Nitrogen, phosphorus, so nagkakaroon ng phytoplankton sa mga tawag dito sedge grass. No? These nutrients cause an increase, no? In phytoplankton, nagkakaroon ng algal bloom. Okay? Magkakaroon ng death of algae, and so magkakaroon ng depletion ng oxygen, and then, of course, magkakaroon tayo ng diminished harvest. Okay? A forest suffered from wildfires and destroys the existing vegetation. However, the soil remained viable. 5 years later, trees and bushes are seen flourishing in the forest again. This phenomenon is called blank. A, primary ecological succession. B, secondary ecological succession. C, tertiary ecological succession. D, quaternary ecological succession. Yan, favorite ito ng PRC. Parang last time, meron din ito. Sa bio major, lagi rin itong tinatanong. Huwag niyong kakalimutan ito. Okay. Ito yan. Ito, actually, ang sagot dyan, ganito. Pag may vegetation, merong community, nagkaroon ng disturbance tulad ng sunog, and then after ng sunog, bumalik ulit yung ganda ng lugar, yung ganda ng community. Okay, ang tawag natin doon ay secondary succession. Kasi, hindi siya pwedeng mag-primary succession kasi dati nang meron eh. So, pag nagsimula to sa bare rock, dun lang pwedeng maging primary ecological succession. Kunyari, nagsimula sa bato, nagkaroon ng halaman, then nagkaroon ng puno, then nagkaroon ng marami ng organism. That is primary ecological succession. Pero, after magkaroon ng napakaraming organism, nagkaroon ng sunog, dinasunog, dinawala ulit. And then pagkatapos nawala, may tumubo ulit. Okay? Bumalik siya sa dati niyang ganda, that is secondary ecological succession. So to further illustrate that, ito yun. Okay? Kapag itong dati ng community ay nasunog, okay, de unti-unti nakabangon, nagkaroon ng grasses, ng shrubs, then ng mature trees, hanggang nakuha niya or na-achieve niya climax community, that is considered to be secondary succession. Ngayon, pag tinanong sa board exam, how do you call the first species, no, in a barren land or in a barren area during the primary succession? Ang isasagot ninyo ay pioneer species. Okay? So yan ang isasagot ninyo. Pioneer species. Okay? So, next question. An example of a sexual reproduction is blank. A, pollination. B, conception. C, fertilization. D, grafting. Asexual reproduction. Okay. Okay, very good. Sige, sabihin na natin, no, alam nyo yan, grafting, pollination, conception, fertilization are all referring to sexual reproduction. Remember, pollination is what happened to among plants, diba? There are pollens, no, from one plant to another plant, that is sexual reproduction. Conception, paglilihi, this is part of the humans, no, especially human pregnancy. There is a conception. Fertilization is the union of egg and sperm cell. So pag nakita sa board exam, union of egg and sperm cell fertilization. Union of egg and sperm cell in a test tube, in vitro fertilization. Okay? Grafting is actually in a sexual reproduction. At ganito yon, no? So meron kayong scion and stock, no? Kung saan nagkakaroon kayo ng graft union dyan, and then you will wrap and wax that, and then magkakaroon na ng mapapropagate nyo na yun, o magkakaroon na ng thrive of new life doon. Usually, ginagawa ito sa mga puno, again, no? O kaya pwede rin namang some plants. Kaya meron na uso yung mga tinatawag na, example, kamlong. No? So, example yan, no? Kamatis at talong. No? Minsan nagagraph na ganyan. So, basically, you can do that asexually. Okay? So, that is grafting. What type of asexual reproduction occurs when a new organism develops from an outgrowth of, as exemplified by corals? A, fission. B, fertilization. C, sexual reproduction. D, budding. Pag nakita asexual reproduction, tapos sinamahan pa ng word na coral, anong isasagot nyo sa board exam? Mukhang magaganda yung mga pagpipilian. Ano ba sila nagsimula? Okay. Bilis eh. Okay, very good, no? Perfect. Okay, tama yan. It's budding. So the root word is bud, diba? sa bud. From that particular bud, magkakaroon ng bagong life. And that is asexual in nature. Okay? Question, teachers. Pakilagay nga sa chat box, ano ba ang corals? Animals or plants? Sige nga, tignan na natin sa chat box. What are corals? Are these animals or plants? Oh, parang ayaw sumagot or hindi sure. Okay, it's okay, no? Okay. This is the most common misconception, but corals are actually animals. So pag sa bio major, alam nila yan. Okay? Pag sinanong ko sa'yo, bio major, anong phylum ang mga corals? Anong isasagot mo? Yan? O baka yung mga non-science, mas alam pa nila. O baka alam nila. Yeah, anong phylum ang corals? Para masabi siyang animals kasi syempre, di ba, in the animal kingdom, we have different phylum. And where or what particular phylum does a coral belong to? It starts with letter C. Very good. Ayan, that is correct. Phylum ni Daria. O baka tanongin mo yan sa Gen Ed, no? Pero, I doubt, pero at least alam niyo that corals are animals. Now, question. Sir, ang corals ba, asexual lang ba sila tulad ng bunny? No, they do also sexual reproduction. So coral actually reproduces sexually through fertilization. Sperm fertilizes, producing a polyp which develops into a full coral. While asexual, coral also reproduces asexually by creating a bud, that is the process of budding, which matures in the coral colony or when a fragment breaks off and grows elsewhere. In Filipino, malay nyo, tanongin sa Gen Ed Filipino, paano natin isasalit ang coral reefs sa Filipino? Sagot, teachers. Yeah. Sagot nyo sa chat box kung alam. Starts with letter B. Paano isasalin ang coral reefs sa Filipino? Pag tinanong yan, Gen Ed Filipino, kasi remember, di ba, sa Gen Ed Filipino may pagsasalin. At isa sa pwedeng isalin ay mga scientifico, mga termino ay dahil wala atang may alam, actually ito ay tinatawag nating bahura. The coral reefs are bahura. So basically, kailangan nating pangalagaan ang ating mga bahura, di ba? Dahil ito ay yaman ng ating biodiversity. It's part of our marine biodiversity. Okay? Next question. The molecules that contain an organism's genetic makeup is called blank. A, genetic membrane. B, nucleus. C, nucleic acid. D, allele. What is the answer? Ito, favorite din ito na itanong. So, huwag niyo rin kakalimutan. So, the molecules no, na meron na naglalaman ng ating genetic makeup ay ang walang iba kundi ang nucleic acid. Remember, nucleic acid is one example of our biomolecule. Okay, sinabi natin kanina yan. Kasama dyan yung protein, carbohydrate, and lipids. Again, ano na nga ulit yung building block of nucleic acid? Sige nga, kung natatandaan nyo. What is the building block of nucleic acid? Very good. That is nucleotide. So, wag niyong kakalimutan. So, allele is actually the other name for gene. Pero paano ba yun? Okay, ganito yan. Kunyari, example, ang gene mo ay hair color. Okay. Ngayon, paano papasok yung allele? Other name nga daw ng gene is allele. So, doon sa hair color, pwedeng dalawa yung allele mo. The dominant allele, diba? Social. Medyo, ano na tayo, no? Lumalahan yung konti. The dominant allele and the recessive allele. Pero basically, this is Gen Ed. I-remind kayo sarili ko. Gen Ed. Okay, recessive allele. So, pwedeng, sa gene mo is hair color. Yung dominant allele mo, for example, is black color. Black allele, ayun. And then, white allele. Ayan. So, ganun siya. Parang ano naman ako sa spelling ko sa glit. Ayan. Ayan, sorry. Okay. LLELE. Okay? So, black allele and white allele are the two genes no, in the hair color. So, basically, gene, hair color. Then, out of that particular gene, there are two traits, which is dominant or recessive. Black allele is the dominant. White allele is the recessive. So, pwede yun. Ano pa? Sige, iniisip ko pa yung ano. So meron na tayong gene. Ayun, sige, tanong. Tinanong din to sa board exam. What do parents pass on to their children? Is it the gene or the trait? Sige. Gen Ed question. Sagot. Ayan. Common mistake to ha. So please, no, pag nakita nyo sa board exam to, wala kayong ibang isasagot para kaawa nyo na. Kundi, ito. Ang hirap nyo kalaban sa chat box. Ang bilis. Genes. Okay, it's the genes. Okay, not traits. Remember, because genes contain the traits. Genes contain the traits. Okay, remember that. So from the parents to upstream, what we pass, kunyari, tatay na ako, ipapasa ko yung genes sa bata, sa anak ko. And that particular gene contains the traits. Okay? And this is part of heredity. Bakit tumatawa ka ninyo? So that's part of heredity, Darwin. That's correct. But of course, it's part of your genetics and heredity. And remember that, tawag dito, ano tuloy ako, na-distract ako ng content. That is part of genetics and heredity. At lagi niyo tatandaan pag sinabi, father of genetics, that is Mendel. Okay. Okay, next question. So ito yun. No? So this is actually the difference between the DNA and RNA. Sir, in the level ng Gen Ed, ano yung tinatanong usually dito? Well, ang tinatanong ganito. Pag double helix, okay, tulad nito, we call it the deoxyribonucleic acid or DNA. Pag single strand, RNA, ribonucleic acid. So single strand, double helix strand, double strand. Now, usually, ang basic na tinatanong sa ganito is, ano yung pairing? What is the correct pairing, no, of, tawag dito, of cytosine, guanine, adenine, and thymine. Okay, yung ano na ang tawag dito sa inyong cytosine, guanine, adenine, and thymine? Sige nga, pakilagay mo nga sa chat box. Very good, no? The base, okay, the base pair. So what is the correct pairing? Sige nga, pakilagay nyo nga sa chat box yung correct pairing na to. Ayan. Very kayo, talagang very technical yung pairing nyo. Okay, that's correct. So ang pairing is A is to T, C is to G. No? Para hindi ko makalimutan, lagi kong inilalagay is GCAT. No? Kasi familiar sa akin yung word na GCAT. So G is to C, ibig sabihin guanine and cytosine are paired, then adenine and thymine are paired. Now, thymine is being replaced in RNA. Ano ang pumapalit kay thymine? Anong sasagot mo sa board exam? Ang isasagot mo sa board exam ay uracil. Tatandaan yan, teachers, ha? Ang thymine po ay wala sa RNA. Anong pumapalit? Uracil. Okay, yan yung basic na hindi ko masyadong pahihirapan kasi Gen Ed Science pa lang to, ha? Ano pa bang tinatanong natin dito? Sige, hindi ko na muna ang purine and pyrimidine. Ano ko na yan sa major siya. Okay, next. These are small hair-like structures that serve a sensory function in eukaryotic cells. Sige, anong sagot? Okay, alam nyo, itong tanong na to, favorite din ito. Super favorite question. So, dapat to, alam nyo na to, no? Hindi nyo na to, ako, baka magkamali pa kayo, ha? Pero sa tingin ko, wala nagkamali, pare-pareho kayong tama. So, cilia, pag hair-like, cilia. Hair-like cilia, okay? So, these hair-like structures serve as sensory function sa mga eukaryotic cell. Example, so ito, no? So, tulad nito sa primary bronchus, sa bronchiole, hair-like projection called cilia line the primary bronchus to remove microbes and debris from the interior of the lung. So, not only in eukaryotic nakikita ang mga cilia, pwede rin siya makita sa mga prokaryotic cell. Okay? So, you can see here the cilia, no, in paramesion. Yan yung mga hair-like structures in a paramesion, which is an example of a prokaryotic cell. And in flagellum, in euglena, the flagella. This one naman is for movement, no? Flagella. Okay? itong mismong hair na sobrang haba dyan, strand na yan, is called the flagella. Okay? Flagella, marami, flagellum isa. Okay? Yun. Okay, next. What are the thin structures essential for cytokinesis, amoeboid movement, and change in shell shape? Sorry, hindi ako nakapag-word. Ay, sorry. Sige, okay na. Naka-private message. Okay, so pag nakita naman yung thin structures, essential for cytokinesis, dun pa lang alam mo na yun eh. Because cytokinesis, no? Okay. Cyto, sa cell, merong yan, especially yung kanyang structure, na andyan yung tinatawag nating microfilaments, which actually are responsible din sa cell shape. Okay? Nandito to sa may cell membrane. Pakita natin. Yan. So, ito ang cell membrane. Kung titignan nyo, yan yung pinaka, tawag dito, outside no, envelope ng isang cell. May mga microfilament which is responsible for cell shape, for movement as well, and then for maintaining no, the cellular shape. So, this is an example in the case of eukaryotic cells. So, the answer there is microfilament, no? So ang keyword natin dito is thin structure, cytokinesis, cell shape. Okay? Yung kanina ay ano na yung kanina na hair-like, no? Hair-like structure, small hair-like structure, cilia, microfilament, thin structure for cell shape and movement. Okay? Next. Okay, mag-order tayo. A human's arm, a bat's wing, and a cell's flipper are examples of blank. Natanong natin to kanina. A, analogous organs. B, homologous organs. C, embryonic organs. D, vestigial organs. Okay. Okay, very good. Pare-pareho kayong sagot. Ibig sabihin, alam na ninyo. Master nyo na to. Homologous organs. Okay, remember, homologous organs, no? With similar structures, like the pictures that you can see in our screen. Okay? Next, which organism is an example of a fungus? A, algae. B, euglenoids. C, yeast. D, entamoeba. Fungus. Siyempre, parang early question natin, nasabi na natin that this is a very common example of fungus. Yeast, that is correct. So yeast is an example of fungus, therefore belongs to kingdom fungi, therefore heterotrophic, therefore eukaryotic. Okay? Algae, euglenoids, and amoeba are part of your Protease. Okay? Next, which organism is classified, nag-border ako kaya medyo mabagal, under kingdom fungi? A, red algae. B, microsporidia. C, diatoms. D, streptococcus. Saan naman dyan ang nagbibilong sa kingdom fungi? Yan. Actual word question. Alright. Iba-iba ang sagot. Medyo unfamiliar. Okay, you have to be familiar with this question from now on. Okay, the answer here is microsporidia. So pag narinig nyo microsporidia, fungi. Microsporidia, fungi. Diba? Red algae, protista. Diatoms, protista. Streptococcus, either, nasaan to? Kingdom bacteria. Okay, either, archaebacteria. Okay, so these are, okay lang yan, it's okay. So these are, this is microsporidia. Okay, wag kakalimutan. The 6 kingdoms of life. So we have the 6 kingdoms of life. Remember, na-discuss na natin kanina yan. Animalia, Plantae, Fungi, Protista, Eubacteria, and Archaebacteria. Okay, pag may tanong kayo, feel free, no? Wait lang, mag-ano lang ako. Mag-ano ako ng aking screen. At nagmamabagal. Saan na ba ako? Ayan. Okay, may mag-admin pa tayo ng konti. Ayan. So, ano ba mga itatanong ko pa dito sa 6 kingdom na to? Nasabi ko na kanina, pero sige. Pakilagay nyo nga sa chat box saan dito nakabilong ang orchids. What kingdom do orchids belong? Kasi may isang previous question about that. Of course, plantae. How about bread molds? Bread molds. Okay, very good. Plantae yun. Okay, sige. Bread molds. Okay, very good. That is kingdom fungi. How about paramecium? Paramecium. Okay, saan ang paramecium? Anong kingdom? Yung sinabi ko na yun kanina. Nakita ko pa yung picture. Okay, that's correct. Protista. So, wag kakalimutan yun. How about humans? Sige, last na yun. Humans. Okay, sige. Okay, parang okay na okay kayo. Pero natutuwa ka sa mga ano niyo, sa mga modification. Animalis. Walang animalis sa animalia yun. Okay, next. What is the unique feature of fungi? A, they have combined chitins and glucans in their cell wall. B, some are capable of bioluminescence. C, they contain mitochondria. D, they contain genetic material. Unique, unique. Unique feature. It's okay. Okay lang yung type mo. Sige lang. Pare-pareho tayo. Ang hirap mag-type kaya. Sige, understandable. So what's the answer? O, isa pa lang sumagot. Okay, very good. Okay, medyo parang unfamiliar sa inyo to, no? Sige, okay lang. Parang hindi ganun kabilis ang aking chat box ngayon. So what is the unique feature? The answer there is A. Sir, dahil po ba mahaba? Yan yung best explained. Okay. Hindi naman. Basically because iba-iba kasi ang cell wall. Di ba? Pag plant, ang cell wall is cellulose. Remember? Pag fungi, combination ng chitins and glucans ang cell wall nila. So remember, pag tinanong sa board exam, ano ang component ng cell wall ng plants? Ang isasagot nyo ay cellulose. Okay? O mahirap daw. Hindi naman. Siguro unfamiliar lang. Cellulose. Pag naman chitins and glucans, yan, fungi. So some are capable of bioluminescence. Okay? Then, bakit hindi pwedeng letter B? Remember, unique feature. Alam niyo naman ang animals and plants, meron din silang bioluminescence, di ba? So, not really. They contain mitochondria. Nako, syempre lahat naman halos ng organism, lalo ng mga eukaryotic, merong mitochondria. Okay? Other name for mitochondria or nickname ni mitochondria, siya ang tinatawag na blank. Natuwa ako sa sagot. Power, yes. It's powerhouse, yes. Why is it called the powerhouse? Because this is where cellular respiration happens, no? Remember, the site for cellular respiration is the mitochondria, which is part of the energy production. They contain genetic material, pareho. Pareho ang prokaryotic at eukaryotic na may genetic material. Kaya lang, si genetic material ng prokaryotic, nakasuspend sa nucleoid, nakakalat. Ang genetic material natin, nasa nucleus. Remember that. Okay? Next. So this is a fungal cell wall. May manoproteins and the glucans and your chitin. Remember the glucans and chitin? That is your fungi. Yung iba, chitin ang basa, but it is read as chitin. Okay? Lalo yung mga bio-majors, alam yan. Okay, next question. Which of the following is an example of a useful function for bacteria? Isa sa mga, lagi nang tinatanong. A, can clean up an oil spill by digesting hydrocarbons. B, may be used as vectors to introduce proteins. C, can synthesize new forms of heavy metal. D, may be pathogenic and cause human disease. Siyempre, hindi nyo na isasagot dyan yung letter D. Dahil ang tinatanong, useful. O, tanggalin na yung D. Tanggalin na rin natin yung sige, tanggalin na rin natin letter C. Can synthesize new forms of heavy metal. No? Punta lang tayo sa A or B. At dahil magagaling kayo, okay, everyone got it correct. That is correct. Letter A. No? Can clean up an oil spill by digesting hydrocarbons. Diba? Kaya ang bacteria, future top notchers, ay magandang gamitin for the process called wrong spelling naman ako. Bioremediation. So tatandaan nyo, pag nililinis natin ang isang lupa, for example, na adulterate, tawag doon, ano ba yung sa Tagalog? Na lagyan for example ng heavy metals due to mining, pwede nating gawin ng bioremediation. I-introduce lang tayo ng mga bioremediating bacteria. Okay? So that's part of your biotechnology also. Yes, di ba? So example ng bacteria na nakakapag-remediate, no, is the marine bacterium called the Alcanivorax. Okay? So Alcanivorax, okay, actually secretes natural emulsifier na nakatumutulong to break up the oil droplets. And so, pwede niyang linisin, i-bioremediate din yung seawater. Meron din naman sa lupa, may mga bioremediating, may mga bacteria na rin ngayon na nakakapag-remediate, nakakapag-breakdown ng component ng plastic. So, ito yung magaganda. Actually, halos lahat ng mga studies na ginagawa ng UP, sa Zambales yung site. Kasi marami silang site na pwedeng dito. And hopefully, no, I pray, years from now, mga Zambales researchers na and scientists ang gagawa ng mga ito. Okay? Next question. Very easy question. Which protease can cause dysentery? A. Gorilla viridae. B. Plasmodium vivax. C. Streptococcus. D. Entamoeba histolytica. Ay, wait lang. Parang may nag-raise ng hand. I'll check. Wait. Anyone? Yes po. Sorry. May chat box ba? Sir Ralph, nag-raise ka po ng hand? Hello po. May tanong po ba? Or napindot lang? Okay lang. No problem po. Sige lang. Okay. Mahirap daw. Sige. Pero, iba-iba nga sagot. Sige. Ang sagot dyan is Entamoeba histolytica. O tatandaan nyo yan ha. Protease that cause dysentery, Entamoeba histolytica. Okay? Kung medyo kunyari, ay, hindi ako sigurado, amoeba, no? Ayan, amoebiasis, Entamoeba histolytica. So, ang dysentery, by the way, cause ng severe diarrhea, no? With the presence of blood and mucus in the feces. So, it's the Entamoeba histolytica, no, that causes this. Ang Gorilla viridae ay ito. Okay, hindi naman. So, hindi siya nag-aano ng dysentery. Okay, Plasmodium vivax naman is a protozoal parasite and a human pathogen. Ibig sabihin, disease-causing agent. No? The most frequent nito and distributed cause na nagre-recur is the malaria. So, pag nakita sa board exam, vector ng malaria, Plasmodium vivax, no, specifically. Okay? So, malaria, Plasmodium vivax. Dysentery, Entamoeba histolytica. And the streptococcus or streptococci, for plural, are gram-positive aerobic organisms that cause many disorders, including pharyngitis, pneumonia, wound and skin infections, sepsis, and endocarditis. Okay? Next, dengue is an infectious disease transmitted by an organism classified under which phylum? A. Arthropoda, B. Echinodermata, C. Mollusca, D. Cnidaria. Tinanong to September 2019. Tandang-tanda ako to. Kasi, pag dito, feedback sa akin. Sir, lumabas po yung dengue. Anong phylum daw? Okay. Okay, very good, no? Very good kayo dyan. Siyempre, ang dengue, ano ba nagkakos ng dengue? Anong organism? Sige nga, ilagay nyo nga muna sa chat box yun bago natin to ma-solve kung bakit siya arthropoda. Yes, no? It's actually a lamok, which is an insect. And of course, insects, no, are under arthropods or arthropoda. So specifically, anong klaseng lamok ang nagdadala ng inyong disease? Tama yung mga sumagot. Very advanced sa mga estudyante ko. Yes, sinagot na nila. Aedes aegypti mosquito. It's actually the Aedes aegypti that causes your dengue, your yellow fever, chikungunya, then lymphatic filariasis. No, yung, diba? Nakita niyo na ba yung filariasis, yung tumataba yung iyong hita due to, this filariasis na. And then Anopheles naman for your malaria. So which mosquitoes bite? Of course, these are the pregnant females. Now, usually for Anopheles or malaria during the night, and Aedes is during the day. Okay? So we have to be careful, lalo ngayon napakataas no ng incidence ng dengue, no? Parang nauso yung dengue no in recently. Okay? So be careful with these arthropods, these insects, these mosquitoes. What diagnostic test allows microorganism to multiply in a medium under controlled laboratory condition in order to determine the cause of an infectious disease? A microbial culture, B chest X-ray, C urinalysis, D complete blood count. Okay, very good ang mga estudyante natin. Okay, that is correct. Letter A. So tatandaan na pag nakita yung diagnostic test tapos yung microorganism nilalagay sa medium, microbial culture ang tawag doon. Yung sa paglalagyan, tinatawag yung medium culture or culture medium. Ayan. So example ito. Okay? So of course, this is your microbial culture. So meron kang medium kung saan i-culture mo yung microorganism under observation. And then of course, you have your chest X-ray. Usually ginagamit to for inspecting, no, you're observing, for example, some bones which may be fragmented or which may be broken. No? Then you also have your urine test, no? Your urinalysis, no, to identify whether okay naman, no, yung urine test and yung blood count, no, so CBC test. Okay, so these are some of the tests, but of course our answer here is microbial culture. Okay? Which of the following process involves chloroplast? A, conversion of light energy to chemical energy. Order tayo. B, formation of reproductive cells. C, cell division. D, protein synthesis. Sige nga. Of course, that is letter A. So this is part of our different cell organelles, cell biology, cell cytology. Of course, that is from light energy to chemical energy because chloroplast is the site for photosynthesis. Okay? Formation of reproductive cells, not hindi dyan. Cell division, of course, kasama dyan yung iyong tawag dito, yung mga either it's mitosis and meiosis, and then protein synthesis or production of protein happens in your ribosome. So pag tinanong sa board exam, site for protein synthesis, lagyan natin sa chat box, site for protein synthesis, saan yun? Siyempre, ribosome. Ribosomes are site for protein synthesis. Ang daming site sa cell, sa loob ng cell. Site for photosynthesis, chloroplast. Site for cellular respiration, mitochondria. Site for protein synthesis, ribosomes. Okay? So next. Ayan siya, no? So the light from light energy to chemical energy in the chloroplast. Next. What is the most likely reason for a desert plant to have a few or no leaves? A, to increase photosynthesis. B, to decrease transpiration. C, to decrease photosynthesis. D, to increase transpiration. Bakit daw karamihan sa mga plants sa desert? Wala daw. Or kukonti lang ang dahon. Anong sagot? Okay, very good kayo dyan. Okay, ang tamang sagot dyan ay letter B, to decrease transpiration. Remember, kailangan nating mapababa ang transpiration. Sir, ano ba ang transpiration? Ang transpiration ay proseso ng paglalabas ng tubig ng halaman sa pamamagitan ng dahon through evaporation. So yung mga excess water na evaporate through the atmosphere in the process of transpiration. Eh kung maraming dahon, it's most likely marami ang incidents or circumstance na mag-evaporate ang water from the leaves of the plant. Hindi pwedeng gano'n. Kailangan meron pa rin silang kailangan meron silang reserve water sa disyerto dahil napakadalang ng ulan. Okay? So, kailangan either wala silang dahon or very few lang yung dahon nila. Okay? Kaya kung mapapansin niyo, sa mga disyerto, by the way, I would like to explain. So here you can see water absorbed by the roots, then water travels up through the plant, and the water vapor loss from leaf pores through transpiration. So yung water in the form of gas, we call it water vapor. Diba? Bang tinanong sa board exam, Gen Ed Science. Pag sinabing water in gaseous form, ang tawag natin doon ay water vapor. Okay, so water vapor is gas. Anong solid ng water? Siyempre, ice. Okay? May liquid din ba ang water? Siyempre, meron. We call it liquid water. So basically, itong water natin has 3 states. No? It could be a solid through like the ice, could be liquid through liquid water, or it could be gas through water vapor. By the way, pwede rin naman siyang ice through hails, sleets, snow, di ba? These are solid. So, wala lang, nasingit ko lang kasi part niya ng states of matter. Okay? So, saan na nga ba ako? Sa desert. Okay. So, sa desert, wala pa lang picture ng mga cactus. So, usually, mga cactus sa desierto, mga modified stem. So, usually, mga stem halos. Very, very few yung mga leaves because we are preventing too much transpiration. So we have decreased transpiration. Okay? So next question. What is the most likely reason? Ito na nga yan. Paulit-ulit ka na. So that's decreased transpiration. Okay? Next question. What is the term for slowing down response by the frog circulatory system during the cold season? A. Cold blood reaction. B. Hibernation. C. Temperature response. D. Estivation. Okay. Yeah. Hindi na ako nagpa-break ha kasi sayang yung yung minutes. Kaya lang medyo sige, mamaya na lang ako magme-micturate. Alright, sige. Sana okay pa kayo dyan. Okay, sige. Iba-iba din ang sagot. Sige, actually ang tamang sagot is hibernation. So usually it slows down yung response during the cold season pag hibernation. So ano nga natin itawag dito, i-differentiate natin. For hibernation, usually we call it as the winter rest. Ibig sabihin, mag-rest siya during the cold season to preserve, for example, its energy na pwede magamit later. Okay. Pag naman estivation, usually call it as the summer rest. Usually ito nangyayari during summer season. Okay, so tatandaan. So hibernation, winter rest, estivation, summer rest. Okay? Question. Ilagay natin sa chat box. Do we have summer in the Philippines? Yes or no? Sige nga. Do we have summer in the Philippines? Yes or no? The answer is, sige. Parang ayaw nyo sumagot, parang hindi kayo sigurado, no? Yes, there is no summer in the Philippines. Ano lang pala meron? There are 2 seasons only. What are the 2 seasons in the Philippines? That is correct. The dry and wet. So technically, wala tayong summer. We call it dry season. Kaya lang syempre, nasanay tayo na summer na, gano'n. Hindi naman natin sinasabi, ay dry season na, di ba? But technically, oo nga. Merong may nag-defend ng answer dito. Sir, bakit pala tinawag na summer capital ang Baguio? Oo nga, no? So, scientifically, dapat hindi. So, dapat ipalit na yan ng Baguio. Dry capital, dry season capital of the Philippines, di ba? O sa mga magbabagyo dyan sa September, baka naman. Sige. Okay, so that is on hibernation. Okay, next question. Of the following, which is an example of a physiological adaptation that allows survival among plants or animals? A. Frog's powerful hind legs to jump away from predators. B. Bright colors of insects pollinated flowers. C. Chameleon's ability to change color with its environment. Or letter D. Walking stick's unique shape and color. Which is a physiological adaptation? Tingnan nga natin. Ayun iba-iba na ang sagot. Sige. Okay lang yan. No problem. Actually, this is kind of confusing kasi kung titignan nyo sige, tignan natin yung options. A. Frogs' legs jumping away. B. Bright colors. C. Change colors. D. Color, shape. Ano napansin nyo sa B, C, and D? These are more structural appearance. Okay? So we call this as structural adaptation because of their appearance. Pwede silang makapollinate ng flower, pwede silang makablend sa environment, then unique yung kanilang color. Ang hinahanap sa tanong is physiological. When we say physiological, function, di ba? Physiology is the study of function. Anatomy and physiology. Anatomy, study of structure. Physiology, a study of function. So anong sagot? Siyempre, letter A. So pag physiology, kasi anong kailangan ng function ng hind leg niya? Kailangan makatalon siya against the predator. The rest are structural adaptation. Huwag malilito. Kasi pag nakita to sa board exam, hindi nyo na kailangang isipin, it's letter A because we're talking about physiological adaptation. At nakita nyo how similar the three options are. Okay? Ay, hindi ko pala nailagay dito yung two types. Pero sige, sinabi ko rin naman na yung two types ng adaptation. Okay, next question. This demonstrates the feeding connection between all life forms: biochemical pathway, nutrition cycle, food web, fossil cycle. Diba? Sir, ang dali naman ang tanong. Gen Ed nga ito, diba? Gen Ed Science. Pero wag ninyo tong pagmamalian sa dapat hindi, dito, dapat tignan nyo mabuti din yung mga options. No? So basically, that is food web. Kung may food chain dito, yun lang yung dalawang pamimilian nyo. Dahil ito ay feeding connection between all life forms, that is food web. Okay, letter C. So this is an example of a food web, which of course starts with the autotroph, which is considered to be the producer. The rest are consumers or heterotrophs. Okay? So sige nga, review tayo. So autotroph, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, quaternary consumer. So pag tinanong ano yung susunod, tertiary consumer, quaternary consumer. Okay, sige, type natin yun. Para siyang quarter, pero tinanggal yung R. Quaternary. Okay? Imbes na quarter, quaternary consumer. Ano susunod sa quaternary? Wala na. Fifth order na ang tawag doon. Fifth order consumer, sixth order, seventh order. Ganon. Okay, next. What is the most significant cause of dwindling biodiversity? A. Large plant consumption. B. Destruction of habitat. C. Global warming. D. Depletion of ozone layer. What is the answer? Future LPTs. Ano daw ang pinaka-critical na dahilan ng lumiliit or nasisira biodiversity? Okay. Okay, the answer is, sige, tanggalin nga natin. Sige. Pwede na natin siguro tanggalin yung letter A, letter D. We go to B and C. So between B and C, we have letter B. Actually, it's because of the destruction of habitat. Remember, industrialization. Anong nangyayari sa mga kabundukan na doon talaga nakatira yung mga halaman at mga hayop? Ginagawang subdivision, ina-industrialize. So nagdidwindle ang biodiversity. Remember, biodiversity is the sum total of all organisms, both flora and fauna. Okay? How can we protect them if industrialization is there? Diba? So, nagdidwindle. Kaya ang Philippines ay kino-consider na biodiversity hotspot. Okay? So, pag tinanong kayo, bakit tinaguri ang biodiversity hotspot ang Pilipinas? It's because it has the most number of species endemic in the Philippines, but it has also the highest number of species which are endangered and near extinction. Okay? So, pag tinanong din sa board exam, baka itanong din ulit to, endemic, ibig sabihin, native sa Pilipinas. Dito lang. No? Dito siya nanggaling, dito lang din matatagpuan. Tulad yung, for example, no, tarsier, although meron na sa mga ibang bansa, but it's endemic in the Philippines. Ano pa yung mga Mindoro, mga some species of mammals and birds, mga tamaraw, yan. So you have to make sure that you know the meaning of endemic. Pag endangered, syempre alam na ninyo yan, ano na, malapit na yan na ma-extinct, di ba? Pag extinct naman, wala na talaga. Okay. Meron po bang tanong? Sige. Mag-meet ako ha. Alright. Okay, so yon. Okay ha? So huwag kakalimutan yan. Ano pa? Sir, sa matatagpuan ng ozone layer. Sige, pag tinanong sa board exam, Gen and Science, napansin nyo wala pa akong pang physical and pang chem, no? Kasi may isa pa kang lecture. Siguro after niyan, pwede ako mag-share ng iba. So, anong layer ng atmosphere matatagpuan ng ozone layer? Yan ko na rin dito. O, tinanong na to sa board exam. That's correct. Ozone layer is stratosphere. Huwag niyo kakalimutan na. Ozone layer is stratosphere. O, sige. Pakitype nga sa chat box. Chemical symbol ng ozone. Chemical symbol. Sir, ang hirap na. Okay, actually, it's O3. O2, oxygen molecule, right? Sir, bakit molecule? Di ba atom? Remember, atom plus atom, molecule. O2, more than one na yan. So, oxygen molecule. O3, this is ozone. So, ang ginagawa dyan ganito. Itong O3 na to, pag ni-bombard mo yung isang oxygen atom, di matatanggal yung, di ba? Matatanggal yung isang oxygen. Anong mangyayari? Magiging O2. Remember, yung O2 is oxygen. So, magiging, tawag dito, pwede natin siyang ma-inhale or pwedeng ma-inhale ng ibang organism. Anong nangyari? Nagkakaroon ng depletion, nabubutas. Kaya nga, very important na intact yung O3 na yan. Sino nakakapagpabutas ng O3 na yan? Yung mga CFCs natin. Okay? Ano yung mga CFCs natin? Mga chloro-fluorocarbons, tulad ng mga doon sa mga air conditioner and mga refrigerator. Pero ngayon, mga CFC-free na to because of the advocacy of mitigating the impacts of climate change. Okay? So next question. Which of the following process best explains the evolution of life forms or gradual transformation of species? A. Isolation. B. Natural selection. C. Genetic drift. D. New combination of genes. Okay, sige, tingnan natin ang mga napakabibilis na sagot. Very good. Okay, very good, no? Walang mali. So that is natural selection. So tatandaan, pag nakita yan, best explains. What best explains natural selection? Okay, natural selection. Who is the father of evolution? That is Charles Darwin. Pag sinabing evolution, science of change. Okay? Science of change in a population. So, tinanong din noon, I don't know if it's by majorship or Gen Ed, what is the basic unit of evolution? Sagot. Sige nga, try nyo ang sagutin. What is the basic unit of evolution? Starts with letter P.
Population.
Yes, that is population. So the basic unit of evolution is population. Basic unit of life. What is the basic unit of life?
Cell.
Of course, that is your cell. The basic unit of life is cell. Okay? Apa? Basic unit of society. Dami kong basic unit, ah. Sorry, hindi ko na i-type sa ano. Basic unit of society.
Family.
Okay, baka nung iniisip nyo pang bio, pang science nila. Okay, pang social na yun. Family naman. So, basic unit of society is family. Wala lang, ang naisama ko lang. Okay, next question. Oh, by the way, ito yun. No? So, evolution can occur through natural selection. No? When a population changes, as individuals are best adapted for the environment to survive and reproduce. So, may variation, may differential reproduction, then may heredity. Okay, kaya nagkakaroon minsan ng mga tawag dito, new characteristics, no, among species, nagkakaroon ng subspecies, no? Then genetic drift when ang population changes due to random events. Pwedeng nagkasunog, pwedeng na-isolate yung lugar, tulad ng mga evolution through isolation, may mga ganon, or through ecological disturbances. Ayan. So pwedeng ganon. Okay? So next, which technology can lead to the formation of a new genetic trait? A. Asexual reproduction. B, tissue culture, C, embryo transplant, D, exposure to radiation. Yeah. Answer? Okay. Okay. Parang ano iba-iba. Formation of new genetic trait. Ayun, okay po. No problem. So, ang sagot is nagkakaroon ng formation ng new genetic trait. Dahil sa technology nito, nagkakaroon tayo ng exposure to radiation. Remember, napaka very sensitive din, nung mga genetic tawag dito, mga DNA din. So some would lead to the formation of new genetic trait due to their exposure to radiation. Pwede itong radiation because of their job or radiation because of their lifestyle. So we have to be very careful about it. Okay? So next question. What is the main organ for respiration? Ito, favorite din ito, no? A, esophagus, B, lungs, C, nose, D, fallopian tube. What is the answer? Okay, respiration, main organ. So, pwede natin tanggalin na yung esophagus and fallopian tube. Pili tayo either esophagus or, either lungs or nose. Syempre, the answer is lungs. The major organ for respiration is lungs. Okay, so question. Based from this illustration, sige nga, diyan kayo mamili ng sagot. Where is the site for gas exchange? Tell me the site for gas exchange. Pag yan ang tinanong sa board exam, Gen Ed Science. Anong isasagot, teachers? Very good. No? Ang gagaling ninyo talaga. Okay, that is alveoli. Alveoli, marami. Iisa, alveolus. So the alveoli is the site for gas exchange where carbon dioxide goes out and oxygen comes in. Okay? What else? Meron pa ba akong gustong itanong dito? Wala na. Okay. Next question. Which of the following is a vitamin? A, insulin. B, niacin. C, pepsin. D, trypsin. Favorite question din ito sa board, sa Gen Ed Science. Of course, the answer is, medyo hindi mabilis ngayon medyo unfamiliar ata ito. Sa bagay, medyo unfamiliar kasi itong vitamin na ito. The answer is niacin. Okay, actually it's a vitamin, no? Insulin, of course, that's part of your tawag dito, being secreted, no, by the pancreas. Pepsin and trypsin is involved in your digestive system. Ayan. So pag tinanong sa board exam, among all the vitamins, ano yung fat soluble? ADEC. Okay, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. ADEC, fat soluble. The rest are water soluble, including niacin. So for letter A, vision, reproduction, bone health, immune system, skin. Tinatawag din ang vitamin A as letter R. Other name for vitamin A, letter R. Sige, chat nyo nga dyan. Nakalimutan na ba? Okay, actually it's retinol. So vitamin A is retinol. Letter D today. Vitamin D is also fat soluble, strengthen bones, calcium absorption, and immune system. Other name for vitamin D is, yan, try nyo nga bago ko i-send dito sa chat box. Other name for vitamin D. Sir, hindi na namin kasi yung iisip. Vitamin D is calciferol. For biomajors, baka lang matanong itong mga to. So, calciferol. Vitamin E, immune system, flashes toxin. Ano nga ba yun dan? Vitamin E. Vitamin E is also known as, ano ba ako? Tocopherol. Okay? So, vitamin E, otherwise known as tocopherol. Vitamin K, parang ang hirap nito. Tama ba ako? For vitamin K, we call this as, mapa major, ano yung vitamin K? For blood clotting and bone health. Parang mali yung spelling ko Check ko na naman yung spelling ko. Pero, phyluquinone, diba? So basically, these are some vitamins, no? Most common, especially these are fat soluble. Okay? So okay na ako. Next question. In humans, the correct sequence of embryological development is blank. A, fertilization, zygote, gametes, cleavage, embryo. B, gametes, fertilization, zygote, cleavage, embryo. C, embryo, zygote, fertilization, gametes, cleavage. D, zygote, cleavage, fertilization, embryo, and gametes. Okay, what's the answer, teachers? Okay, tama naman yung spelling ko naman. Okay, ng phyllokinone pala. Okay, so the answer is letter, yes, letter B. Kailangan muna may sex cells. Remember, pag gametes, sex cells. Gametes, sex cells. Okay, that's correct. So pag sinabing male gamete, sperm cell, female gamete, egg cell. Okay, ayan. Merong shinare dito, no, Teacher Marilyn, no? That is gaphezyse. So gamete, no, that's correct. Gametes, no, especially for example the egg and the sperm. Okay. Then anong gagawin ng egg and the sperm? Magfe-fe, fertilization, the union. Ano mabubuo? Zygote. Okay. Ano yung zygote? Pag tinanong sa board exam, ganito tinatanong ang zygote sa board exam. The fertilized egg. Zygote. No, naka-union na yun. The fertilized egg is zygote. Then cleavage and embryo. So that is the sequence of embryological development. And embryological development is being studied in embryology. Okay? So ayan. So the human egg, the ovum, and the human sperm are spermatozoon, pag-iisa. Pag marami is spermatozoa. Okay? So we have the head, okay, nandiyan yung acrosome and the nucleus, the midpiece, which contains the mitochondria, and the tail. No? Include the axon. Ayan. Okay? So, yun lang naman. Okay? So, ito yun, no? So, of course, your gametes, no, your sex cells, will undergo fertilization. Then, of course, it will become the fertilized egg or zygote. Then, it will become the cleavage, no, as part of your embryo. Blastula, blastocele, gastrulation. Okay? So, that is embryological development. Okay? Next question. The main source of energy of our body is blank, derived from carbohydrates like bread and rice. A, glucose. B, amino acid. C, nucleic acid. D, glycerol. E. Okay, very good. Sinabi ko na rin yan kanina. Sinabi na natin, the main source of energy of our body derived from carbohydrates, the building block of carbohydrate, we have sugar or glucose. Okay? Building block of protein, amino acid. Examples of nucleic acids are DNA, RNA, ATP. Glycerol is the building block of lipids or fats. Okay? So, tatandaan. Okay? Order natin. Next question. A substance that speeds up or retards a chemical reaction without itself undergoing a chemical change. A, enhancer. B, catalyst. C, electrolytes. D, ionizer. Alam ko na to. A substance that speeds up, prepare, or retards. Yan. Chemical reaction. So that is letter. Okay, ang bilis ninyong sumagot dahil very basic question ito. That is correct, catalyst. E pag walang catalyst, sa pagpipilian ang isasagot, teachers. Pag walang catalyst, ang sasagot ay letter E. Ano yung letter E na yun na isasagot natin pag walang catalyst? Letter E, enzymes. So, huwag kakalimutan, these enzymes really retards or speeds up, no, chemical reaction without itself undergoing a chemical change. All right. Next question. The main difference between animal and plant cell is that A, plant cells lack rigid cell wall. B, animal cells lack rigid cell wall. C, plant cells possess small vacuoles. D, animal cells possess large vacuoles. Kind of tricky, pero pag nakita mo na yun, yun na yung sagot. Okay. 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 Actually, the main difference is that animal cells Siyempre, wala tayo, nung kasama tayo sa animal cell, wala tayong cell wall. It's only the plants possess rigid cell wall. Tatandaan nyo ha, animals do not have cell wall, only plants. Okay? So that's the main difference. Letter B. Tandaan yan ha. So ito yun, di ba? Kung titignan nyo, oh, ayan, ang napaka-rigid cell wall ng plant. And we don't have that. We only have the cell membrane. Okay? Of course, after the cell wall, merong cell membrane din yan. Okay? Pag tinanong sa board exam, how do you call the holes or the opening in the cell wall of the plant cell? Anong isasagot ninyo? What are the holes or openings in the cell wall of the plant cell, which is actually the daanan of the incoming and outgoing substances? Ang sagot ay plasmodesmata. Okay, ito siya. Yung mga butas-butas. These are the plasmodesmata. Yan yung butas sa cell wall. Ano naman ang tawag sa butas sa dahon? How do you call the openings or the holes, no, in the leaves? Which is, of course, where carbon dioxide expires, goes out, and oxygen, oxygen goes out, and carbon dioxide is being absorbed. So we call them, that's correct, stomata or stomates. Okay, no? So may butas din pala yung mga dahon. How do you call naman the butas? Panay butas, dire-diretso na natin to. Ano naman ang butas sa mga stems or bark of trees, no? Oh, how do you call it? The holes, openings in the bark or stems of plants or trees. Okay, ang tawag naman, very good, lenticel. So, huwag nyo kakalimutan yung mga butas. May mga butas pa ba ako? Okay na lang muna. Okay, sige, next. Which of the following refers to the increase in Earth's temperature due to a buildup of certain gases in the atmosphere? A, global warming, B, desertification, C, eutrophication, D, acid rain. Ito rin, very common question in Gen Ed. Okay, very good. Siyempre, alam natin yan. That's letter A, global warming. Okay, so global warming is the umbrella term. And because of global warming, nagkakaroon ng pagbabago ng climatic change, climatic pattern. Nagkakaroon ng climate change. Okay, because of the global warming. Okay, next. The correct sequence of the stages of mitosis is A, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. B, anaphase, metaphase, prophase, telophase. C, telophase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase. D, metaphase, telophase, anaphase, prophase. Oh, anong sagot, teachers? Siyempre, meron tayo dyan, di ba? Yes, your PMAT. That is correct. Yung iba talagang PMAT ang sagot. ProMAT yung iba. Okay, no problem. So that is PMAT. Your prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. That is correct. So prophase muna, then meta, then ana, then telophase. Now to visualize that, so we have here our mitosis, no, with the PMAT and then cytokinetics, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. And the first growth phase, growth and normal metabolic growth, the G1. And then we have the interphase, the S phase, the DNA replication, and the synthesis phase. And the second growth phase, or the G2, the growth and preparation for division. Ito sa ano to, sa major shift na. Pero at least alam natin. From mitosis, G1S, and then G2. Okay? Next, rickets. Ito. Lagi rin to, no? Si rickets, which is characterized by soft and fragile bones in the children, results from severe deficiency of what vitamin? Tinanong to last year din. A, vitamin A, B, vitamin B, C, vitamin C, D, vitamin D. Rickets. Soft and fragile bones. Oh, pag nakita sa board exam to, dapat perfect nyo na to, ha? Okay, kung hindi, at least, kung hindi nyo man alam kanina, ngayon, malalaman nila. So, anong sagot? That is vitamin D. Okay, dalawang paboritong vitamin D, BRC. The vitamin D for the rickets and the vitamin C for what particular deficiency? It starts with letter S. Ano namang sakit yon? Pag lack daw of vitamin C. Laging tinatanong din to.
Scurvy.
Yes, scurvy. That's correct. Thank you, Sir Ralph. So that is scurvy. Okay? Pero natanong din actually, pero sa majorship ko na siguro yan, yung kwashiorkor and marasmus. So tignan natin yung difference niyan. Pero siguro in my second leg, parang gusto ko pang mag-ano kasi kulang yung ano ko. Parang hindi ako masaya sa half day. Kasi marami pa tong tanong nandito sa slide ko. Siguro magkakaroon ako ng second leg pero I will announce na lang when. Okay? Kasi parang ilang minutes na lang tayo. Okay? Pero try kong sagirin hanggang 4:20 kasi uwian ko ng 4:30. Babiyahe pa ako pabalik ng nandito ako sa iba. So babiyahe pa ako pabalik ng Subic. So, okay. Kaya pa natin to. Meron pa naman. Marami pa tayong minutes. Okay, which of the following is the correct sequence of the level of organization from lowest to highest? This is also a very common question. Tissue system, organ cell, system, organ, tissue cells, cells, tissue, organ system, cells, organ, tissue system. Yes, that's correct. So meron tayo dyang mnemonics din. Okay? CETOS, di ba? You have your cell, your tissues, your organs, and your system. Okay, ganito lang yan. Okay? The basic unit of life is cell. A cell, the group of cell is what we call tissue. And the group of tissue is what we call the organs. And each organ compose the organ system or the system. No? Pero dahil si PRC medyo gusto niya lang system, okay, system, hindi ko na to kinorek. No? Pero technically, biologically, we call it organ system. Question, ilan ang major organ systems ng human body? Okay, mga bio-major dyan. Okay, actually there is 11 major organ systems. Okay. And I'm going to discuss that siguro ano na lang. Hindi naman masyadong pero siguro magkakaroon ako ng lang for majorship for that. Okay? Yung mga gustong umattend sa majorship ng bio, welcome kayo. So we will announce. Okay, pero medyo na yun, medyo may highfalutin value. Okay? So this is it, the cells, tissue, organ system, and organism. So of course, the basic unit of life for the different organs, sige, pag-usapan natin yung different organs, saglit lang. What is the largest organ, external organ of the body? Talaga, or external organ. Okay, that is, how about the largest internal organ of the body? Very good, skin. Dami sumagot. Thank you so much. What is the largest internal organ? It's actually the liver. Okay, tatandaan na, baka tanungin ito sa board exam ulit. Skin, largest external organ. Liver, largest internal organ. Ano pang pwede natin itanong sa organ? Okay, yun lang muna. Okay? Kasi syempre i-focus natin yung mga medyo tinatanong. Okay? Okay, so basically, actually, meron din tayong basic unit of matter. Kung may basic unit of life, cell, what do you call the basic unit of matter? Sige, anong sagot? Basic unit of matter is, that is correct, atom. So ito siya, makikita nyo siya. Atom, two or more atoms, molecules or macromolecules, and these macromolecules compose your cells. Remember your macromolecules, your protein, carbohydrate, nucleic acid, lipids, ayan. Cells are grouped into tissues, then organs and organ systems, then organisms. Now, we go to the ecological level. Okay. The group of organisms or species are called the population. Okay. Then group of populations are actually community. And the different communities can be found in ecosystem. Different ecosystem compose our biosphere. Okay, wag kakalimutan. Biosphere. By the way, yung organelles, okay, ano natin ba? Yung organelles, part na yan nung sa cells natin because these are structures within the cells. Okay? Then yung biomes ninyo, dyan na yan mabibilang sa different communities. Communities or biomes Then you have your biosphere. Okay, so that's it. Okay? By the way, dahil pinag-uusapan natin ang biosphere, singit ko lang to, although it's not biological science. How many spheres of Earth are there in Earth? How many spheres? One is biosphere, the other are ilan? Okay, 4 daw. Pero, alam nyo ba? Sabi, 5 siya, di ba? Naku yung mga tinuruan ko ng spheres of the Earth, inisa-isa ko yan Okay, ito yung mga spheres Unahin natin, biosphere, buhay. Ano yung sa sa hangin? Sa air? Atmosphere, o sa tubig? Mali pala ako. Ano yung sa tubig? Hydro. Ano yung sa lupa? Tama ako. Ano yung sa lupa? Geo. Hindi lithosphere because ang lithosphere is part of the crust and upper mantle. So we call it geosphere. Ano yung last? Letter C. Okay, very good. Cryosphere. Huwag kakalimutan yan 5. 5. Because cryosphere is the frozen part of the Earth. Pag tinanong sa Gen Ed Physical Science, what is the frozen part of the Earth made of ice, glaciers? Cryosphere. Okay, next. What are the breathing organs that are located in the stems and tracts? Tinanong ko na dito pala sa aking slide. Sige, ang sagot. Tinanong natin, sinabi na natin yan. Pinag-uusapan natin ang mga kabutasan. The breathing organs in the stems and trunks, these are lenticels. So, huwag kakalimutan na, lenticels, stems, trunks. So, next. A severed portion of a starfish grows in the full starfish through asexual reproduction by the process called blank. A, biotic, B, regeneration, C, migration, D, population. Anong sagot? Very good. Ang gagaling talaga ng ating mga future top-notchers and passers. That is correct. Regeneration. Pag nakita sexual reproduction sa full starfish, that is regeneration. Pero kung i-correct ko si PRC, sa tanong na to, it's not starfish, di ba? Ano nang ginagamit natin? Because starfish is not a fish. It's an echinoderm. We call it sea star. That's correct. The sea star. Very good. Sige. Okay, so yan So dahil gusto ko na hindi i-edit yung actual mga board questions, sige, hindi ko na in-edit. Okay, next. The feeding procedure wherein the mother bird partially digests the food and places an amount into the young's beak is termed blank. A, regurgitation, B, guttation, C, hibernation, D, estivation. Okay, very good. No? Very basic din ito. Bakit parang walang sumagot? Dalawa. Okay, so basically it's regurgitation. So pag nakita ninyo, siyempre kakain, partially digest ni mother bird and then ipapasa niya through the beaks yung partially digested food sa kanyang mga tawag dito, anong tawag din sa sa mga bird na maliit. Ganun. So that's regurgitation. So paggatation, ito yung mga excess water na lumalabas sa gilid ng dahon ng inyong mga halaman. So nagkakaroon ng excess water sa gilid. We call it guttation. Actually, lagi ko itong napapansin sa mga plants ko kasi pag umaga, check ko, very may mga water na sila in the edge, no? Until the apex. The hibernation, sinabi na natin to kanina, winter rest, estivation, summer rest. Okay? So to illustrate that, we have here the regurgitation. So yung partially digest, ipapakain niya yun sa kanyang mga, anong tawag sa maliit na bird? Meron ba tayong term doon? Para sasabaw tuloy ako. Okay, basta yun. Maliit na bird. And then, ito, guttation, that is the excess water. Okay, sa inyong mga plants. Okay, sa dahon usually. Ayan, you have your hibernation helps avoid damage from low temperatures during winter, and then estivation helps avoid damage from high temperature in summer. Summer rest and winter rest. This is a variation of spelling, but ES can be accepted. Okay, the average blood in the circulatory system of an average person is blank. I'm not sure, pero parang 2018 ito na tanong. Okay, what is the answer? Average blood in the circulatory system of an average person. Okay, ang sagot ay yes, 5 liters. Okay, so Tatandaan niyo yan, 5 liters. Okay, may pakape pala. Okay, next. Studies show that there are parts of the body that have lost their usefulness and which may later disappear. What are these organs called? Sinabi na natin to kanina. A residual, B extinct, B fossilized, C fossilized, D vestigial. Okay, very good. Siyempre, nasabi natin yan. Very good kayo dyan. Vestigial organ. Okay? So, these are vestigial organ. Yung appendix before, nagkaroon ng ano na, may consider siya as vestigial organ, but lately there are researches that says that there are functions naman. Okay? Sige, dahil pinag-uusapan ng functions, pakilagay nga sa chat box, study of function. Yan, tingnan nga natin kung nakikinig. Study of function. Okay, that is correct. Physiology. Hindi yan study of fish, ha? Study of function. Study of function. O sige nga, study of fish. Sige nga, lumaban kayo nga sa spelling. Study of fish. Fish. Wow, ganun naman. Ichthyology. Parang wrong spelling ka. Oh. This is one of the hardest to spell, actually, in biology. Lovely ornithology is birds. Okay, anyway, sige. Okay, sige. Proceed. Is the hierarchical series of organism where each is dependent on the next as a source of food. A, ecosystem. B, ecology. C, food chain. D, food system. Okay, what is the answer? Hierarchical series, dependent on the next. So pag nakita yan, it's not food web, it's food chain. Then pag nakita sa board exam, interconnected food chains, interconnected food chain, food web at sakot. Interlinking food chain, food web pa rin. Okay, so next. The protein shell of a virus is called blank. Ito din, very familiar question. Nucleus, capsid, nucleus, nucleic acid. Okay, what is the answer? Yes, very good. Capsid, no? Hindi na natin yan ngayon, alam na natin yan. Capsid, yan. The capsid is actually the covering. It's actually as is the covering. Okay? Next. What technology technique is employed during the breeding and captivity in order to restore the population of endangered and threatened species to safe levels? A, artificial insemination. B, cobaltrization. C, cross-pollination. D, genetic engineering. What is the answer? Ito na ako. Babalik na ako ulit. Okay. Okay. So the answer is letter. Okay, that is correct. Artificial insemination. We have to do this to preserve, no, the next generation. So lalo sa mga breeding and captivity para at least ma-maintain natin yung mga species na either endangered or near to extinction. Okay? That is letter A. A species of fish lived in a lake. When a dam was constructed in the area, a group of fish was separated and populated a new pond. They then developed different characteristics and became a distinct species. Which of the following concepts explain this speciation? A, geographical isolation. B, episodic isolation. C, chronotrophic isolation. D, behavioral isolation. What is the answer, teachers? Okay, very good. Magagaling. That is correct. Geographical isolation. Parang ilang beses, mga twice siguro. Twice pa lang. Okay. So this is geographic isolation. Pwede itong lumabas sa bio majors, pwede sa major, pwede sa gen. Okay. So that is geographic isolation. That's one way of speciation or creating new species or subspecies. Okay. Next. Ay, by the way, bakit siya geographical? Kasi nga nahati. No, nagkaroon ng dam construction, so geographical isolation. Okay? Polysaccharides, triglycerides, polypeptides, and nucleic acids are classified as acids and bases, macromolecules, phospholipids, carbohydrates. Uy, huwag kayong malilito ha. Huwag kayong malilito. Kanina, iba yung tanong natin doon. Okay, ang tanong natin doon, panay saccharides, polysaccharides, disaccharide, oligosaccharides. Ito, hindi lahat saccharides. Kabay. Okay, anong sagot? Nako, nalito na ata kayo. Ano lang to, pinahirapan lang kayo. Ganito lang to. Carbohydrate, lipids, protein, and nucleic acids are called, yun lang yun. Letter B, macromolecules. Sa tatandaan, polysaccharide is carbohydrate, triglycerides is lipids, polypeptides are proteins, nucleic acids are nucleic acids. Hindi letter D, okay? Huwag kakalimutan. Okay lang yan. Pero at least alam nyo, ay, pag polytriglyceride, okay na yan, macromolecule. Pag polyogligosaccharide, carbohydrate, sasagot yun. Okay, na-excite lang. Sorry po. Okay lang. Sige, na-excite lang din ako. Okay, ano to? Sige. These are actually the different macromolecules, gaya ng sinabi natin. So, amino acids are the building blocks of proteins, fatty acids, glycerol, phospholipids, no? You also have carbohydrates for saccharides, then nucleotides, DNA, and RNA. Okay? Next. What will happen to the plant cell in a hypotonic solution? Gaya sabi ko kanina, favorite tong hypotonic and hypertonic. A, the plant cell will shrink. B, the plant cell will have thickened wall. C, the plant cell will swell. D, nothing happens to the plant cell. What is the answer? Siyempre, very good kayo dyan. Letter C, the plant will swell. Pag walang swell sa pamimilian, anong other words ng swell? Okay, okay, burst. No? Pag nakita yan sa board exam, burst, the plant cell will burst, that is hypotonic. Paano naman pag nothing happens to the plant cell? Nothing happens to the plant cell, anong isasagot? Hypo, hyper, iso. That is isotonic. Okay, very good. Sige. Pagpaumanhin nyo, pero hihingin ko yung last 15 minutes, no? So until 4:15 tayo. Para yung 5 minutes ay magpo-photo document lang ako. Or siguro mga 1 minute lang. Hanggang until 4:15 tayo para makaready ako. Which of the following activities is not directly involved in the study of biology? A, classifying wild plants living in a forest, studying the physical structure of the soil, determining which plants grow best in a type of soil, studying the microorganism that causes foliage. What is the answer which is not part of biological study? Ito, Jen, ito lumalabas. Very good. So that is physical structure of the soil. So when you study the physical structure of the soil, you're gearing towards physical science already or earth science already. Okay? So that is the soil. Okay? What term is used to describe the ability to maintain a constant internal environment? A, homeostasis. B, metastasis. C, metabolism. D, thermoregulation. Okay, very good. This is a very, very easy question. Yes, it's homeostasis. There is an equilibrium in the internal environment. And pag sinabing internal environment, saan ba matatagpuan ng internal environment sa loob? No? Parang home, di ba? Home loob, homeostasis, internal environment. Metastasis is spread yan. Nag-metastasize yung kunyari, cancer. No? Pwede siyang metastasize from one part to another. Metabolism, either anabolism or catabolism. The thermoregulation something to do with the maintenance, no, of temperature in one's organism. So ito, tulad nito, no, cancer is likely to metastasize. How cancer can spread or metastasize from one part to another. Okay, so we that's part of sa cancer studies. Which of the following is an example of behavioral adaptation? A, thick green stems of the cactus. B, thick fur of the bear. C, shedding leaves during summer. D, presence of cuticle on the upper surface of the leaves. Behavioral adaptation. Okay. Okay. Okay, ang samang sagot ay letter C. No? This is actually a behavioral adaptation. The rest are structural. thick green stem, thick fur, presence of cuticle. Ayan. So basically, we have the word adaptation. Remember that adaptation is one of the characteristics of life. It's a special characteristic that allows an organism to survive in a particular environment. Okay? Adaptation may be physical appearance, morphology, internal system, physiology, function, something an organism does, behavior. In our case, no, in the example, what is functioning, no? There is a shedding of leaves. Why is that so? To preserve energy. Okay? To preserve energy. Okay? Next. A cell wall, the cell wall of plant is made of, nabanggit ko to kanina. What is the answer? Lipids, cellulose, glycocalyx, or chitin? Okay. Very good. Okay. Okay, remember ha. Chitin and glucan, fungi. Pag plant, we call it cellulose. Cellulose. Okay? Next. Which causes our bone to turn brittle and easily break? A, turning into muscle tissue. B, increase in flexibility. C, turbidity decrease. D, removal of collagen. Okay. Very good. That is removal of collagen. So basically, it actually causes to turn brittle and easily break. So collagen is actually a protein which functions as for structural, no? So structural and then for connectivity, tissue connections. Okay. Next, Dan is 30 years old. According to human structure, how many bones he has? A201, B217, C206, D106. Okay, so we're talking about here skeletal system. And the number of human adult bones is 206. Question. Is it lower or higher than the baby? Sulat nyo nga, lower or higher than the baby? Kapag tinanong sa board exam, lower or higher than the baby, ang sagot is lower because the baby has around 300 bones, no? Compared to adults which has 206. Why bones fuse together, no? As we grow. Sige, pag-usapan natin yung mga basic questions sa Gen Ed in terms of bones. What is the longest bone? Sabay ganun eh, no? What is the longest bone? Opo. So the longest bone is femur. So femur is the longest bone. What are the three smallest bones found in the ear? Ear pala. Ear. Actually, there are the smallest of the three, but what are the three? Okay, ang ginagamit ko dyan is has. Okay? Hammer, anvil, stirrup. Pero meron silang, ay sorry, naka-ano po ako, naka-direct message. Has, no? Hammer, anvil, stirrup. Pero meron siyang Latin, no? Ang hammer is the, ano na nga yun? Ano na yung sa hammer? Hammer, kasi because the stirrup is tapes. Ay, wait lang. Nagugulo ako. Ang dami yung sagot. Oo. Hammer, anvil, stirrup, or incus, manus. That's correct. Manus, yes. That's the answer. Manus or hammer. Sige, i-type ko dito. I-paste ko yung sagot niya. Ni Sir Ralph here. So we have manus, the hammer, kasi nga, di ba hammer yon, man, incus, and stapes. Okay. Ang pag tinanong pa sa board exam, sa Gen Ed or Bio, ano yung pinakamaliit sa tatlo? The answer is, ano? What is the answer? Correct. Stapes or stirrup. Okay? So, yun yan. Kaya na pa lang tinatanong sa buto. Sige na lang muna. Okay, next. What do you call the finger-like folds on the inner linings of the small intestine? A, appendix. B, rugae. C, villi. D, secum. Okay, 5 minutes more. Sige. Para hindi rin kayo info overload. Okay, what is this? Very good. So that is correct. Villi. So again, finger-like, villi. Okay. Hair-like, cilia. Thin structures, microfilaments. Favorite to. These are three concepts na favorite ni PRC sa Gen Ed Science, focusing on biological science. Okay? So the villi, diba? You also have the secum, no? Part of the appendix. And then yung iyong rugae or rugae, no? Sa ano naman yan? Okay, stomach. Okay? What do you call a food in a semi-liquid form, partially digested and mixed with hydrochloric acid? Ayan, sa digestive system ito. A, chyme, B, mucosa, C, gastric fluid, D, gastric secretion. Yes, very good kayo. No? Yung iba naka-question mark pa, pero tama naman. So, chyme. Oo. Yes, that's correct. So, letter A. Okay, so ito siya, no? Just to illustrate, ayan, with your hydrochloric acid. Okay, so that's part of our removal of bases, no? Excretion. Okay, the Brundtland Commission defines it as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. How do you call this development? Okay, how do you call? According to the Brundtland Commission, pag nakita nyo Brundtland Commission, agad-agad alam nyo ang sagot, ito ay sustainable development. Development na napananatiling paghunlad ng Filipino. So when we, for example, do not compromise the future, okay, we actually doing it sustainably. Okay, next. Which of the environmental law requires industries to install anti-pollution devices and ban the use of incinerators? Feeling ko matatapos natin yung slide ko. A, Clean Air Act, B, Environmental Security Act, C, Greenpeace Act, D, Anti-Act. So pag nakita niyo to, anti-pollution, ay sir, hello po. Anti-pollution, that is letter? Okay, letter A, Clean Air Act. Okay po sir. Okay, that is Clean Air Act. Okay? So RA 8749, that is the Philippine Clean Air Act, and the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000, lumalabas din to, huwag nyo kakalimutan, is the RA 9003. So pag nakita RA 9003, Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000. Okay? So next, which protease causes malaria and carried by Anopheles mosquito, Euglena, Plasmodium, fungi, or HIV? Sinabi ko na to kanina. Okay, ang sagot? Okay, very good. That is letter B, Plasmodium. Okay, so Plasmodium is actually the protease causing malaria. Okay, so ayan. So for example, this one, no, the mosquito, magkakaroon siya ng tinatawag na the Plasmodium will actually be the vector so that this malaria can actually be transmitted to humans. The process by which water molecules move from higher to lower areas of concentration through a semi-permeable membrane is called A, carrier molecule, B, exocytosis, C, osmosis, D, cell membrane. Siguro we'll have last three questions. From area of higher to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane is called? Okay, that is correct. Osmosis. Pag tinanong sa board exam, diffusion in water, anong isasagot ninyo? Pag tinanong diffusion in water, anong sasagot? Osmosis. Okay, osmosis din ang sagot doon. Okay, because diffusion is the umbrella term, the movement of molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration. Sir, paano? Ganito yon. Nagpabango ka, syempre highly concentrated yung pabango, yung perform molecule dito. Kasi higher concentration. Saan siya pupunta? Sa lower concentration. Kaya maamoy ng mga tao doon sa banda-banda doon. Sa lower concentration where perform molecules are can travel, no, to the lower concentration. The same pag nagluluto ka din, di ba? You are cooking, but your neighbor can actually smell it because it's from higher concentration or greater concentration to lower concentration. But in water, we call it osmosis. Diffusion in water is osmosis. Okay, so yan yan. Okay, so we have the newly formed vesicle containing oasis, the vesicle fusing with cell membrane and releasing wastes outside the cell, we call it the exocytosis. Now, when we actually excrete some of the substances inside the cell outside the particular cell. Okay? And then we also have here the osmosis diffusion. I already discussed that. Diffusion, the general term, diffusion in water, osmosis. Okay. Next. Okay, last two questions. Okay, second to the last. Vibrio Cholerae is blank bacteria. A comma-shaped, B rod-shaped, C spherical-shaped, D spirally shaped. This came out in September 2019 and September 2021. Okay. Bamas din to. Okay, anong sagot? Okay, very good. No? Iba-iba. Sige, okay lang. So that is letter A, comma shape. So pag nakita nyo Vibrio Cholerae, huwag na kayo mag-iisip, comma shape ang isasagot niyo. Comma shape. Okay, tatandaan. So ayan siya, no? Gram-negative yan, comma shape. No? Sheeted polar flagellum. Okay? Last question. The technology that uses plants to break down or concentrate toxic waste in the soil is called as A, bioaccumulation, B, bioremediation, C, genetic engineering, D, phytoremediation. Okay, that is correct. No? Nabanggit natin kanina. Ay, wait, no? Very tricky din pala itong tanong na to. But what makes it tricky is because there are two possible answers, di ba? Naka-share screen pa ba? Okay. There are two possible answers. Letter A, letter B, and letter D. Kaya lang very specific siya dito. Plants. Okay? So pag plants, pag naging specific yung tanong, phytoremediation. Pero pag wala namang plants, technology, general, bioremediation. Okay? Okay ba yun? Okay po. Sige. Okay, so tingnan ko nga lang. Silipin ko lang yung last. Okay, sige. Ibigay ko na rin tong last na tanong. Ito na lang pala yung last. Okay. Which of the following pertains to slight quantifiable evolutionary modifications within a population from generation to generation? A, macroevolution, B, artificial selection, C, generational selection, or letter D, evolutionary upheaval. O last na to. Last na rin talaga ito pala. Kasi nga, yung second part would be physical and earth sciences. So what is the answer for this? Letter? Okay, letter A. So tatandaan nyo ha, pag nakita sa board exam, that is microevolution. Pag nakita nyo slight quantifiable evolutionary modification, slight, micro. Evolutionary modification, evolution. So microevolution. So yun. Hinati ko nga pala tong slide ko into physical. So to end, no, of course, my wish to all of you is that you'll be able to pass the board exam, especially those who will be taking the board exam this September 2022. So galingan ninyo. So this is just the first leg of your Gen Ed Science. There is also schedule for your physical science, focusing on physical science and earth science. So kung napansin nyo, more on biological science. Okay? So thank you so much. So I will be uploading this also to my YT channel if you want to go back. Hopefully I could upload it right away. And thank you so much. I really enjoyed, no? I really enjoyed. So let me stop sharing so that I could see all of you. And then we'll have a short documentation. So let me stop sharing. Salamat po sa inyo. Pwede bang mag-picture lang tayo for documentation? I'll open my file. Pagsisiban ko. Okay? Sige, picture tayo kasi na-miss ko kayong lahat. Sa totoo. Okay, sige. Sige, let us wait the others to open. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Save ka lang. Isa pa. Second frame. Hindi nyo alam kung saan kayo kaya sige lang. One more. First frame, balik lang ako. Thank you so much. Abangan nyo yung announcement namin sa sa page ng mga next lectures. Okay? Sana may natutunan kayo.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Nikita.
Thank you, Cabrera.
Sure.